drink today.
We in the rum shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We in the rum shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We in the rum shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
We in the rum shop.
Yeah.
So bring a rum, bring it come in the rum shop talk.
Yeah.
So bring a rum, bring it come in the rum shop talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the rum shop again. It's another Thursday. Good afternoon to everybody. We are about 13 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock, so we're on time today. Alright, we have our whole rum shop crew here. Stephan Matteson, regular, Paul Nahus, who was here last week. We have Selvon Mitchell. Because I asked Selvon, I said, what's your name again? He said Mitchell. I said, but that was the name I given last time, you know. So it had to be Selvon Mitchell. I doubt it is Mitchell Selvon. So we're here with Selvon Mitchell. We have Derek Richardson, who is the Estate Police Association president. Nice man. And well, of course, Phillip Edward Alexander, who giving Westmoreland people real trouble right now, because they one day wrote a Westmore bill. And and myself, and I will be wearing a darkers for the whole show, because I realize that the people who could see apparently blind. So I'm hoping that blind people is the ones that see in the country as we go through the discussion today. As you put your glasses too, so that you are all trying to see.
You know, they're all run today, boy.
No, but I
too much thing. It's too much thing. It's too much.
It's so much things happening.
too-
Look, yourself, I see massive group record 3% more profit. So the profit now for this fiscal year was 515 million, 3% higher than last year. And I'm trying to figure out if it was in a pandemic.
Corporate Trinidad, the best thing to happen to corporate Trinidad and Trinidad banks is that lockdown.
Is the lockdown?
Yeah.
So they recorded,
Everybody
everybody
up.
recording profits.
Everybody up, you know why? Labor down.
Correct.
Everybody labor down. Same thing we was
Small
talking-
business
same
down,
thing
medium
we was
business down.
talking off here, right?
If small business and medium business has
No, but
down.
if your labor bill down,
Yeah, well, yeah.
labor is a high
Yeah,
cost.
it is.
Yeah. So I don't know where all they want to start, but
I want to start with labor.
they want to
Start
start with
labor.
labor.
I wanna start with
Well, let me
labor.
start with labor. Go ahead, man.
Since
Because that big march tomorrow.
Since he started with
Is
labor,
that
we
big
had the
match?
big man in security here.
Yeah.
And
40,000.
security
Yeah,
is
man.
40,000.
40,000 now is
In the industry.
recepted.
Yeah, represented on
So
the
the
side.
same, right? That's a big number. Then they're not counting Ghost Company and Ghost Precepts, right? That's why they're counting Ghost Company and Ghost Precepts.
You
That's
haven't
why.
mentioned
You know,
that
that's why.
Selvon
That's why.
and Derek
Right.
and Paul are all in the security.
In the security.
In the
Alright,
security.
cool, man.
So we-
well, I know Paul.
We had a
Derek,
we
I
had
know cell phone.
Someone a big
Cell phone
papi
in everything, boy.
business.
Cell phone you in everything, boy.
You don't back home well these days.
Oh, yeah, everything, boy.
The shit,
The
son.
shit.
Everything. Don't worry, I go see. I go see.
Before we go into
But Jimmy
the,
Cliff,
before we
you
go
think
into that,
that's-
yeah.
Matteson, the march tomorrow.
You marching?
Tomorrow is a big day for me. The
So-
march, I'm not too sure. I'll try to be
Somebody really route to me today. I say, but like the same route we march when we march. It's like one route.
That's the best route.
Yes,
That's the best route. That's the
It's
best
the
route.
same route. They just call the commission and say,
The route.
the regular.
The regular.
Yeah, we got
Take one of the usual.
But we don't for the usual.
usual with slide pepper. No slide pepper this
But we
time.
don't for the usual.
So, but on a serious note, is it going to have any impact?
They will sell papers.
Yeah.
Right, but in the overall scheme of things, to me, you could march from now till 2025. These people not moving enough, they're not budging.
Your role,
They don't care.
your role, your association, does it represent the estate police from a position like a union?
Yeah. Like basically what the law gives us. The law covered under the Supplemental Police Act 1502 and in section 38. It basically enshrines the right of the association. It's actually the only association that is named in a legislation. And it says that for any matter that a union is competent to bring, there shall be the estate police association. Right? So we are.
Now I just want to say what dovetail the whole thing is our industrial relations professional Stephan Matteson, right?
Yeah, he does.
Nice. So you know that, right? So just for the people who are looking, I want them to know that everybody have an understanding of what we discussing here.
Yeah.
So the reason he say what he say, and I'm talking for him now, is that how many decades we going to walk that same route? And people operating on 2013 salaries.
Yeah. 2013.
2013 salaries.
Like
and
public servants, like public servants.
But that's and that's
I mean,
people who
most
have jobs.
places,
That's the people who have jobs.
security officers. I mean, if you check the industry, the both the what you would call the if you check all over Trinidad and Tobago, the people who work in private mom and pop organization all over, their salaries have increased in years and
Right.
15,
Number of
20
years,
years.
yeah, some people.
Right? I know people who say they're working for $5,000 since 2002. They're still working for that.
5,000, yeah.
But things increase 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
Was flour went up 58% in the last 6 months.
We have 25% food inflation, which means that every 4 years, that on average food is doubled every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
That's madness.
But we haven't
That's
established
insanity.
A living wage, Matheson.
We have a dying wage, not a living wage. It's a dying wage we have.
Because I know they're marching, but specifically what they're marching for.
And this is the thing, because Robert Amar, and I will give Jack his jacket and Jim his gym boots. I remember listening to Robert Amar on the radio once. He said, why are the unions marching for parity? Why are they marching for equity? Why are they marching for shares? Because we were talking off air of the importance of labor. Without labor, most industries collapse.
Correct.
But we
Correct? So the march is a threat to withhold labor. Now we can march forever. We don't hear marching forever. Trinidad. Lucky again, them out the march once.
Yeah, but
If
no,
it
they
rain,
were withholding labor in the first place because labor is hinged. You know, the thing is, I always say on these programs, the laws of demand and economics and things don't work in Trinidad.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they don't work.
Agreed.
So it don't work for a number of reasons though. And one is, if labor, say the withholding labor, that will only be the people in, say, the unionized environment and that kind of thing that can afford to do that. Well, not even afford to do that, but they may do that. But in other
For a period of time.
in other informal sectors, you will have people being replaced. You will have people being told, if you stay home for whatever reason, don't come back, and that kind of thing. And nobody, most people, for the most part, don't know the rights.
No, but we have a lack of opportunity.
Oh,
as well.
And they're afraid of losing the income
But
for whatever reason and that kind of
is that a
thing.
lack of unity?
Well, it is that too.
If you feel a man going and rushing and take your job because you fighting for
But union is declining, union membership is declining, and Mr. Richardson is part of I would say, a parity because they are enshrined in statute. But even with them, there are a lot of estate constables who are not part of the association, who don't seek representation in the association for whatever
Is
reason.
there a fee?
Yeah, there's a
Oh, there must be a fee. It's
Yeah,
an
but you,
association.
Paul Daniel now, Selbon, you could say this here.
Yeah.
Security officers are the poorest paid workers of
Not
any
true.
country.
Not true. Not true.
That
Not
comes
true.
with a lot of different
Yeah.
way of working, which company, what
Not true.
duty. Some have additional training. When you become precepted, there's a lot of
It's stages.
So
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are,
but
there are
I-
security officers that get paid well.
there are
security officers.
well,
Security officers get paid well
Yeah,
in the context
But
of
it depends on the
the
No, so-
duty
so-
and
well, I mean,
that kind of thing.
you'll be able to
But the
they're able to
average-
tell.
A person at supermarket say most of them will work for 3,500, 4,000,
I
that kind of
find-
thing. Most security officers work for a
That's
lot
what
more
I'm
than that.
saying.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
some will work for that.
No,
The-
but Paul, that is the
So I
mass.
think-
Derek,
Alright.
that's the mass.
Derek could come and
Yeah.
he could bring it and
There are
share
two
them.
sectors, right? Private and those who work in the state sector, right?
Right.
Private and the state enterprises. Those are the persons who basically will work for upwards of, so it's probably around 6, 7, 8, 9 going up here, right? The persons who work in the private security companies,
Exploited.
right? Those are the most exploited. So we have two people, you have two sets. You have the estate constables who covered under the Estate Police Association, and you have the security officers who are covered under
They
any.
call them battle officers
Right.
sometimes.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was
They,
talking
When you-
about.
most of them work for $17.50. The state, because they don't have a representative organization, so the state basically through the minimum wages that sets their salaries.
So
And
that's
the
like
only time
But
that
they
they will
could
get
join
an
you?
increase. No, they can't
No,
join.
that's like the
Deputy
security
president.
guard
Only
who go by a
difference-
school.
They will
No, you talk about the man who's guarding the rice in the grocery. Tell me,
Oh,
what is the difference with the estate police and a security guard?
The estate police are those who
A good question.
you will find, you will see on the arm, on the badge, on the shoulder here, a blue and white metal
Bars.
City badge.
Now, what that means is that you will have satisfied the Commissioner of Police by sitting an exam, right? You're not for a period of study, sitting an exam, and you're now an estate constable with a precept.
You've been sworn. You're sworn on.
All estate police precepts.
All estate. Once you are estate constable,
You have to be precepted.
You have that
Has to be
makes
How
that
much
makes
members you have?
right now we are about 3,002 somewhere.
So the other 47,000 is baton guards.
Well,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. What you have?
Not
Yes.
every precept
Not every
is an
precept.
estate
That
police.
is a no. Not every
joint
precept.
union.
Once you're
Joint union. I'm
precepted,
talking about
estate police.
membership.
Once you're precepted,
You're
as
an
an
estate. You're
police,
precepted
Yeah.
as an estate.
So that is a
constable.
precept, estate police. You
Yes,
get that
yes,
badge to
yes.
wear.
Yeah,
The
that's
association
when-
now you
And
have to.
what percentage
join.
of all of those precepts are your members? What do you think? 50%?
Nah.
No,
Never.
less than 50.
Less than 50.
Less than 50.
Okay, if you give me a second, I'll go ahead. I'll talk. I'll make a
Yeah.
No, I
talk.
One of the things
You
is-
see these
No, he's
questions
right,
are
he's
asking
right.
these questions.
Now where you going there? I know.
Because there's a number of things that that contributes to that. One is a lot of people didn't even know that there was an estate police association. Because people come in to go down to the thing, don't set the exam. The exam forms no part. The estate police association forms no part of the training.
Right.
So they come out and then they go to companies, and some of those companies intimidate people.
They don't even tell them. They don't tell them first.
Yeah,
All
they
them
don't
tell
tell
them first was the association.
And they intimidate them. They do not want you to join the association.
Approximately
But by virtue of being a
About
precepted
6% of them are
officer, you
correct.
are
Around
technically a
6%.
member
Right.
Well,
of
from
the
their
EP.
numbers.
So the EPA.
Yes.
Did you just ask?
So let me
We just asked.
I said by virtue of being a precepted officer, you
can.
are
You-
technically.
So you say the
Yes.
tenets
Well,
of what
you're
they
entitled
You
to
are
it.
technically,
Yes.
you
entitled to it.
you could only get representation as a matter of fact.
From
From
the
an IR perspective. From
Yeah,
from
but
the
you
because
EP.
they're
could
union
get
that got-
representation by association. What he gets for his members, you could benefit from.
Who could benefit from that?
You are being a precepted
Yes, yes, you
you
are
being a
correct.
precepted officer, not a member of his
Will
association.
benefit,
Yes.
of
Will
course.
benefit from
Yes,
it.
but
Yes.
you'll find precepted officers trying to join only when they reach an issue where they need a join.
Well, yes.
Then they jump to join the association. Hey, I now come in.
This is Trinidad.
I look at the pay fees now.
This is Trinidad.
Yeah.
They will watch you. Trinidadians will want to buy a fire extinguisher when the fire starts.
Correct, yeah.
But the problem is to really the membership issue is really is historical, and but just to break it down quickly. Recently, if you remember 2012 around there, they would have RBC would have sent home the in-house people,
Yes.
Yeah.
persons who were
Thompson and
employed,
them.
right, who were employed by
The
RBC, and they said that they were redundant. Good.
Right.
I remember when they
But
announced
it's-
them, when
right.
they trucked them out though.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a
I
big
remember that,
thing.
yeah.
Big thing with that. But they say they're redundant, but they bought in amalgamated.
Afterwards, yeah.
Good. So the association president at the time said, "Oh, like madness." So he took it up, and he went to the specialized tribunal, right? On it. The Supplemental Police Act says that the association shall run through a branch board and a central committee. It didn't have a branch board in RBC at the time because a lot of them thought that the bank was treating them well, so they didn't want to join.
They're getting good treatment now.
Yeah,
It's when things
so-
go wrong.
Right,
which
that's
is
a
when-
classic example what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
So when that happened now, they come to the association, they just pick it up. The company lawyers come and say, hey, the association have no local standard here because they have no branch board. The special tribunal say they agree,
That was a technicality.
right?
I hear you the
Yeah,
first
they
time
hold
you
them
tell
in.
me that. I will never forget the first time Stephen Madison tell me that. The first thing they just do is to mash up your challenge, is to say you have no local standard.
standard.
Local
They're
standard,
looking to say that you have
No authority,
yeah,
no
no power,
right
yeah,
before
yeah.
this organization.
Okay.
So the special tribunal say, okay, the officer and them say they don't agree with that. Good. Appeal the matter to the High Court. Association appeal the matter to the High Court. The High Court agree with the special tribunal. When I came into office in 2018, 2019, my judgment came out, and he said no, still don't agree with that. So we sent it to
Appeal.
Judicial
Court of
review.
appeal.
Yeah, no,
No, court of appeal. Court of appeal. They go by.
Right.
right?
Go
The
up
Court of
next.
Appeal say, well, no, they're mad because listen, the Supplemental Police Act says that the only person who can represent an estate constable is
EPA.
the EPA.
Yes.
So where would they go?
All right.
That's
Where would they
it.
go? Right? So they say, listen, go back with our sharpness and go and then instruct the special tribunal now to hear the matter. Right? Okay. You know what happened? The special tribunal, not RBC people. The the special tribunal appeal this matter of representation, the right for the estate constable to be represented by the union that is stated in the law.
By
They
statute.
send that to the Privy Council.
It's in statute, yeah?
Wow.
So they're fighting your right to be represented before them.
Before them. And who money they taken?
Your taxpayers now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Taxpayers' money there.
I want to bring up a problem.
Just a wait before
Yeah.
just take a small thing
Tax,
because
tax.
where he going there? Where he going there is an important point. While all this going on, those security guards not being paid.
No, the home, the
home-
home,
Trying to
No, but they're not being
Yeah, they're
paid
not
by
being
the
paid.
agency.
No,
So
they're not
everybody gone about finding a new life.
Yeah.
So even after you win the matter, if you win the matter, it'll be
You win, you still lose. They are
you,
win,
you-
you still-
you will set a precedent maybe for the next time it come
I don't
along.
hope that,
But the
yeah.
majority, because I remember they had a security guard and an estate police officer in Westmore. Nice guy. He knew more about what was going on in the bank than the bank staff. You come in there to do certain things.
Yeah.
He telling you need this paper.
Some of them
that
take the
document,
orient.
that-
Yes,
Some of them take the
real
orientation
serious.
very,
And
very
them,
seriously.
some of them real good with that.
Some of
They're
them-
real
But
good.
Richardson,
They know all the little
if
functions.
by adventure, the Privy Council should give a ruling and judgment on that. It will affect the law, the other part of the law. So it will have to be judicial review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only that,
No, but
on the point that we just made,
So it means that in some way they will have to either repeal the legislation or make some changes to it. in
that'll make
way.
some changes. Well, they're going to try because our argument, a very strong argument, the argument that was put before the court is that in the Supplemental Police Act, it says clearly representation by the branch board and representation by the central
what
executive.
what
So
he's
we know
saying
that.
is that
So-
can't apply if the Privy Council says you have no choice but
Yeah,
to
you
deal
have
with
no
the
choice,
EPA.
yeah.
You have to deal
You
with
have to
the
deal with the
EPA.
EPA.
Then that
But more than that, and I'm glad you're here today because the private security legislation
Well,
that will have some implication on
massive
you,
implications.
on you.
The whole the industry, the
The
EP,
entire
industry, it will wipe out the EP.
that is
The
a,
EP
That will wipe
will
out
wipe
the EP.
out.
It will wipe-
I
it
mean,
will wipe out the EP.
so maybe that is part of the whole.
That is part they
I've
wanted
been
to
the plan
unionize.
from ever since. No,
But I mean,
how does that wipe them out? How?
Because
Okay,
there's
well,
no
well,
longer
something-
that
well,
body.
well,
Well, confused about something in terms of that being the plan. We have an industry. 6% of the industry is being represented by the union. What is the threat to companies that you feel that there should be moves to push the union out of it?
I don't think
In your
it's-
opinion, no. What is your opinion?
Why?
well, I think the issue is here is really, you see that labor is under attack, representation is under attack. So here you have an organization such as the Estate Pool Association, who potentially could be the largest association in the country.
If
By
all the
law,
members
if everybody
If everybody
by law,
join.
by law,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Named it by, so they can't move us, right? And if they recognize that here what's going on, these people could, if they get organized in the manner in which they should be organized, right, have a real impact on businesses. Now, the business interest, and it's the business interest that is behind the scene that is pushing everything. Now, the question I ask is, in
So
any
casually
judgment,
we just say things like that.
in any judgment, right, you have to look at what is the real effect of the judgment. You have a judgment which says, no, that the security or the estate police officer could be represented. Why would the state appeal that? Right?
Well,
Why would the state really appeal
I
that?
think maybe the state looking at the fact that they're going strictly by what the law say, and one
The law's
doesn't,
been-
one doesn't satisfy the other for them.
Well, okay.
So the court will
How-
have seen.
how-
Well, how?
How you say that?
But
If you've arrived at a point, if the appeal court says that these people are entitled to representation and this is the body that is set up to represent them, recognize this body. All the appeal court did was remove the bacchanal from the thing. Say, have a conversation with this body. Because at some point, if you don't, you are going to have to deal with all of those security officers individually.
But one of the
Well,
things
well,
I
I think this is a good. I'm happy to
so
that we will have the jurisprudence.
They will have the jurisprudence.
You
and
will have the
right?
jurisprudence because there are some things in that particular act that you and I were talking about it today. That is just not making a lot of sense.
Development.
Supplemental police act.
With police,
Supplemental police act that was not looking for this.
for the fines and all those kind of
That
things.
was a plantation
Right,
time.
exactly.
That's what that was for.
They are coming in 1906.
We saying some big statements casually, the way he just casually said, business interests manipulating behind the scenes to make sure that the state. But
I don't come and qualify what I say.
boss man, I want to tell you something. You have a street,
It's all
you have a
casual,
street
it's
in Sinclair
Yeah.
that the Ministry of Works just put 6 humps in that nobody in Trinidad could explain. How, what justified those 6 humps? And it's business interest and personal interest. It is not national interest. You're not protecting national interest. And that is the point.
I want to bring about a point on that, right? Or I should say 2 points on that. And you could feel free to disagree with me or agree, but this is what I see from my involvement in that industry at a management level, right? I saw that, one, there is a fear that if the state police decide, like every other company, you have one man, if you go around and encourage people to join, and you realize, wait now, but we have this power and we have this backing of the union, and everybody, all the state police companies join. You have real bargaining power there. That is one. What defeats that though, is they have a lot of the state police who say, you know something, let me just cut my private duty management, get my extra hours, and I'm good with
I
that.
want to answer that. I want to answer that. I want to answer that, and I want to say this.
I lie or not?
I want to say.
You're completely correct.
Derek, I want to say this to that. There is a company called Thor Security.
Will we go down that road, boy?
Oh God.
Every
So better why not go down that road, boy?
almost
Why not go down that
every
road?
single employee of Thor Security has reached out to me for assistance.
Before I was in security and I was in university, there was a tour security guard in a little thing I was renting, and he outside opposite. Since then, them days, tour security complaining
But
about
why, you see,
officers.
and I want to ask you this. I want to ask
Right?
you this, right?
Since then,
Is there a security officers union? Anything like that? That
A
like
security officer
or
could
they could
be
see
represented
any
by
union, any union represented.
right? And under section, even if they won't, well,
So
obviously
but
they
what
would
you're
pass.
talking? There are
They-
50,000, brother.
They can
No,
be
no, there's
represented
no
by
precepts.
any union under section 51 1C. They can be represented
His
by.
too?
Yeah, no.
No. This is for
It's specific.
no, for the
No.
supplemental
This is-
police
yeah,
officers.
This is specific to
Aye.
supplemental police.
Listen,
So-
that is all well and good. That any, because they are working under the act, under the RA, so
Yeah, work under
they
the
could
act,
join
so
anywhere.
any union.
Aye.
But here what? That doesn't give that same union the problem that inside of there is really the right to collectively bargain,
Collective bargaining.
right?
That's what
And
I
it
think.
is nearly impossible to organize that particular sector workers to be able to get that MRU status to collectively bargain.
Simply because security officers and they didn't go to school and learn to be a common security officer, and most of the time they're just in a job as
Pick
a
up a job,
security
right?
officer
Yes,
for a
but-
short period.
Yeah.
They become very volatile in the organization because they can be manipulated, they can be moved anytime for any reason.
There's also-
so,
there's
so
also no-
what Richardson is talking about, RMU status, it would mean that a certain amount of them in the organization will have to be registered and apply for that status, which would be more than 51, and,
More
and
than
that
51.
figure keep moving. Really moving
But
all the
people will
time.
move out.
The
people will
attrition-
move
the
and come
attrition
in.
rate in
Because
other
it
companies
takes
is high.
time. It takes time for that for the
No, there's a
RSP
problem.
No, the industry is a hustle. Because
Correct.
people, as you quite see, people come in because there's a need, a loss of job, or just they have nothing to do, and they say, oh, you know, you see somebody say, hey, we hiring some security officers.
There's hustle
and
tomorrow.
they go,
So if you have a car,
and
you
the
pull
more
and
hours-
if you don't have a car, you're a
Yeah,
security guard, right?
Like,
Right.
sit up
So
good
you end up now
yeah.
when they work how much hours because they're looking for hours. Because 1750 at minimum wage, so they're looking for hours. Because if you work 1750 for 8 hours, you have no money.
No, but as a human resource management expert, I do work for all kind of companies in Trinidad and Tobago. Security companies, I have a lot of security companies as my clients. And one of the things I realize is that security officers, because I am out there, I don't specialize in security only. they don't work for the least amount of money, and they're not under the least amount of the most amount of pay, right?
I agree with that.
There are industries where that are very much exploited far more than security officers.
Okay.
But
Labor.
before you ask such as,
Labor industries.
I'll tell you.
before you
Hard
ask,
labor.
before you ask such as,
But people use security as that as well.
now before you ask such as,
Because you security as that.
which
They can.
industry puts you at physical risk as much as being a
That's
security?
Well,
So when you look at that balance, because you're not just exchanging labor for money like every other organization,
That risk involved.
this is
Yeah,
your
and a high
risk in your
risk.
life.
so let me just say the amount of money.
Anyway, that
let's just
risk,
look.
any
Let's
that
just
risk,
look.
they're
Let's
supposed to be properly
Thank
compensated.
you.
Right. Okay. I agree with you. But you see, what happened? Most companies, security companies, also have challenges, and those challenges are, for the most part, they are not together. So the negotiation for a contract, say, from the government pays sometimes $26 to $32 an hour
Or more.
for security. Not or more. They hardly ever pay more unless it's.
I'm gonna I'll bust that file
Unless
afterwards.
it's firearm.
I'll bust that file
Guard,
afterwards. I'll bust that
He-
file afterwards.
He used to work for a 1% security.
Right.
group.
And
It's not for that. This is for the corporation. I'll bust that file
I'll
afterwards.
tell you
right
this.
after.
When a security company, a big one like say Allied, get a contract which pays $26 an hour, and are using
That's the low ball
talking
figure.
brave here, and they have to pay compliance that doesn't come out of that. They have to pay for the
What is
maintenance of the vehicle.
The administration,
That
the
is-
management.
the administration, I will explain that. The administration, the people who compliance will be the people who come in the night and check to see how
Right.
many people working
Right.
and if they're working and that kind of. They have to pay all that kind of thing. And let's say they also have to pay double and triple time for a man who working extra time for a person who just didn't choose not to come out today. He felt that he shouldn't come out today.
Yeah.
He just didn't come to work.
And that falls on you as a company.
That falls on you as a company. So now he paying double time and triple time, for which he only getting $26. If you check the pain that security, and in most cases,
We're not talking about uniform yet.
and in most cases, the government sometimes takes 6 months to pay a security company for 1 month. So you now have to have good overdraft and that kind of thing to pay those guards. So those are some of the
But
challenges.
you know, they have a question. Who said you?
No,
But that question-
The question I
Ask
want
that
to
question.
ask, I want to ask is, listen, I only did 26 or something, right? That wasn't always so.
Well, maybe it wasn't always.
It wasn't always so. Bring it down. Who bring that down to $26 an hour? Just recently, bought it up, they bring it out in the papers. Take money and pay it outside it because you're sending to the press. They may want it because if whatever interest, you ain't see it printed. So it's put it there.
The man
People
said
at
some big things, casual,
Yeah.
boy.
People in this
That
industry,
pen and paper.
right? People in this industry,
Alright, okay.
and everybody in this country is sit down and talk and take this. But don't listen to me. TSTT, state company, right? Have had in-house security, in-house estate police, paying them well,
Yeah, they
Right.
right? For private security. They had this thing called cable cut.
Oh God, boy.
Same right, the cable cut. So they had was they had Allied.
That
Allied was doing it, and then they do so, and they had a bid. Now, here how the bid come. Say how going on. Allied, you go in that room. About everything you go in that room. Chief 4 you go in that room, and you come and they have a competitive bidding. So it's an auction really.
Yeah, they
To
option.
see who coming down,
So they say.
and it come down to $24.
And you can't. What?
Hold on.
You know what you get at $24 an hour, right?
Come down to $24. Now here you think about that. Right?
You hear that?
Anything
For
about
cable
it.
cut, right?
Yes,
It's three challenges.
For cable cut, which also uses vehicle, gas.
Right.
They have even more overhead than regular security.
Firearm.
Firearm, everything. But yeah, but they pay the estate constable $20 an hour, right? And that same estate constable,
Firearm.
firearm $5 an hour.
Right, so like more than...
So your cost is $25.
So you are paying more than
So you pay $25.
Okay.
You pay more, you have to pay more than you're being
So
paid.
what is the benefit of the
But
So
contract?
I
here
don't
this.
know.
So here this.
Cash flow?
That is just before.
I know you're going
Cash
to
flow.
That is just before.
Remember this one.
That is just before, gentlemen. A couple months before, when we raising the alarm bell. Something wrong here.
something that be going on.
Then you do so on here. Retrenchment at TSCT. Send home the in-house security. Right? The question is now, I wonder if that same contract is worth $24.
There's too much.
I wonder if that same contract at TSCT, if that company, Amalgamated Security Company, is getting $24 at present. Because I can see how you could be $25 and you take it a long contract footing. So where is this about? Body shopping in this country?
So, Selvon,
We put that in the papers. This, I say that 10 times over. 10 times over been talking about that. And we ask people
Nah, they
want to
just-
look at what
Just
it is
for
going on.
for charity is good. People do for
Trinidad and
charity.
Tobago is the death of the rule of law.
So you have
Where is all of the laws and the rules that you tell me about Stephan
So-
Matheson when it comes
so
to
when
so
just now,
you-
Stephen, just now. So here what? So you just talk about the 2016, right?
I feel really
Now,
good up for this.
You talk about the 2016 and you think that why it reached there. And the reason why I bring that in is the reason is because there are persons, there are business interests who have an interest in monopolizing this entire industry. And if I have long pockets, I will now
You know what
put
they want?
you out of business.
That's exactly.
They want market
put you out
share.
of business.
They want market share.
So when I control,
They want
when I
to eat
control,
all the market share.
Derek, this one,
At the expense of,
This
at
one.
the expense of officers.
this one,
crowding.
I'm not
Correct.
letting you get to put casual. Because long pockets, we are talking a little piece of money here.
No,
No, it's all.
no.
We're talking about you taking a substantial loss for an indeterminate period of
For
time
market share.
to drive somebody else out of business. Where that money coming from? Who backing that? How do you back that up? That is not a business.
When you have absurd amount of capital and there's very few businesses in it.
Well, I'm
so-
gonna
Yeah,
follow
but
that.
you're gonna
I'm
follow them
gonna-
on-
I'm gonna follow
You're
that.
going to come them on
that's
one
not
hand.
I'm gonna
Let me-
follow that statement down the rabbit hole with you.
Go ahead.
An obscene amount of capital, an absurd amount of capital. That's a correct statement.
Yeah.
Where does one stumble upon such a thing? Where does one get into the security business or any kind of
There's
business?
a point of time when companies get to this point, when they get very few companies, and you know which ones I'll be saying, you get to a point where, here what, government don't pay, even if you take, let's just say you're making $2 an hour on a security office. Let's just say you're making $2 profit, right? You're making $1 profit, right? Some of them don't care, and okay, we'll make $1 profit an hour, and government is paying you for 2 years, and you have to foot salaries for all that time. Well, here what? We have enough capital and things coming from other contracts to just hold on until your small company
Yeah,
can
but
survive again.
no, there are
Your
laws
small- and
against that.
Not only that,
There are-
and buy over. Not only that, and buy over.
Yes, but why isn't the estate, who I only found out exists today, why isn't the Estate Police Association, on behalf of its members, suing the state for engaging in underhanded business practices? Because that's what they're doing. You are not, what your model there is not sustainable. It's not to say that you're saving the country money. I remember when Kiss and Quelo was at war for bread. My bread had reached $1.99 for a loaf of bread.
Now, before my time.
The day Quelo closed
don't know
down,
bread like
that day, Kiss already had a $7.99 bag printed. It had existed. A price war is not a sustainable economic model, and it doesn't benefit
And
anybody.
it all shits up its employees. At the end of the day.
Yeah, because you know why? They get stuck at that price while the company goes forward to recoup its losses now that it has a monopoly.
Correct. So you could do
So
the
let me tell you how that $24 went down and how I am not to pay $24. I don't only fact that thing. If I have a company, I say, listen, you're going on. When you come in, I sign your contract to thing. You have to pay $20 every month to a sports club that don't exist.
Correct. I correct.
Right?
100% correct.
Good.
Let's start.
If I drive in, I have to drive. So you have drivers. And out of that, I have to pay $50 every month in case you get in an accident. Hold on. The Paul right here, everybody else. When you get your fire, the one you do your fire, right? And every time he had to renew the fire by the commissioner of police, the company does pay. But this company charging the officer, they're taking out of the salary.
Correct again, take my salary.
Right.
So how I
Yeah,
don't see
because
that,
they
how I
do
don't
that,
see that, how I
Boss,
do not see that
You know,
company
so
in court by you.
everyone paid.
That's the question I just
Everyone
asked.
paid
How I don't
$4
see that
a-
company.
I just asked that
Everyone
question.
management
Hold on.
officer. 20 months for
You'll come to
passport
that.
job.
You'll come to that.
You're not supposed to.
Right?
I just
No.
asked that question.
And that same company now, right? If you had to get a job letter, $50.
For a job letter.
But-
yeah.
but-
Sure.
Because you didn't reach there yet. Because you didn't reach there yet.
but they didn't know it covered
Because you didn't reach there yet.
Ask him.
No,
Go ahead, ask him.
I-
What does that company have to do for them to take them to
No,
court?
what I'm saying is,
You must officer still line up outside the
Let
office.
me finish it. I
Let
ain't finish it, right? So you come and you think with that then. Good? So you have $50 to pay. If you're in Republic Bank, but the company bank is, let me say, RBC. You have to pay $20 a month
to
to
transfer.
send the money to go there.
It come and deduct from your salary automatically. It come out in your. I had officers used to line up outside my office.
I hear them
The deduction
So
for
here, man.
things.
Yeah, man.
You
Out
have
of that
to put it-
$20, out of that $20 an hour, when you take $20, right, from the month for this sports club,
Yeah.
and you
Wow.
take that $50, which is
That
what,
do exist, eh?
2.5
That
hours.
do exist.
That do exist.
All right. Yeah.
2.5 hours.
I
of
tried
your
to
salary
do
for
the
go
Sports
there.
club.
So you see your salary really
I want to tell you something. In the
is about
United States of
$15
America,
an hour.
our biggest trading partner, the United States of America, they are anti-monopoly and antitrust laws to protect
Price
your-
fixing
to
and
protect
so on.
the economy,
Yes.
to protect the economy. It is a danger to the economy to have a company grow that big.
But-
a private company, yes or no?
Yes.
It's a danger. It's a danger. to the
Of course, it's
economy.
dangerous.
With fire.
With fire.
I ain't even going down that
Well,
road. I'm talking strict economics, but that also is a consideration.
Let's look
But
at that way.
But yeah, it's a private army.
Hear what? Eh?
Just not there. I want
like it,
to
yeah.
say something. When Gillette Shaving Company was going to buy Wilkinson sword, the Justice Department in the United States of America blocked it. You have to get approval. If the business you are about to enter into, you know how much time Microsoft nearly get break up? You know how much times Microsoft had to make allowances? Because, and I remember Janet Reno, when she was the Attorney General. When she was the Attorney General, she bring Gates inside of there 3 times. And every company that suffered under what Microsoft was doing with their bundling, so you can't buy Windows. If you had to get Corel, you couldn't get Corel Draw because you get Microsoft Paint and all those things. Lotus 123 was the original Excel. I mean, I'm talking some antique. But it is a danger to any economy to let one.
We don't have that kind of oversight. We don't have that kind of laws. We don't have that
We have
kind of
mafia.
We have
mafia.
we have mafia thing.
That's right.
But the
Before,
thing is,
before you had Digicel
I'm glad
that
you
come
said
into the
that.
market,
right?
before Digicel came into the market with cell phones and things, you remember how much you used to pay for a cell phone if you use of a cell phone?
No,
As you bring up
We
cell phone,
have-
$3 a minute on a call.
But listen, I just want to go back to something.
Before you know,
Yeah.
let's understand. Verizon was a walkie-talkie company that had come up with the technology where you could have a walkie-talkie with a keypad on it. You could dial numbers, so everybody don't hear the conversation. I could dial your walkie-talkie. AT&T at the time, which was the only provider of phones, sued Verizon and said that they were encroaching on their rights to be the only telephone. That lawsuit worked against AT&T and they broke it up. That's how you end up with Sprint and Verizon, all them coming into the cell phone company and created all the competition that drove the prices down. So when I say that it is a danger to the economy, I'm talking about prices.
And people have to understand. People have to understand the danger of a monopoly. All right.
You need
How much
a
different brands of water it have right
competitive
now? How much different brands of water it have? How much of them produced by Blue Waters? With one company producing all the bottled water that they getting on the shelf, they could set the price. It's the same thing we were talking a couple of weeks ago with Carnival, where one man buying up all the bands. That is similar to what he's talking about from the security
But look at
agency
flow.
perspective.
But look at flow. Look at what the price of cable became for no justification. For no justification
So people have to be
whatsoever.
careful. People have to be
Cable went
aware.
from $120 and $200 to $500, and people
And
need
just keep going up.
people need to, and they don't need to give you a justification because your choices are cable or no cable.
And just on the point as we come back, right? One of the things I always want to find, what's the power? What's the power?
Where's
of
that
the
is?
state police? What's the powers they have?
Power the estate.
They have the same powers as a police officer.
Same power.
Under the Police Service Act at the rank below a corporal.
On your estate.
On the estate.
On the estate.
Well,
But it has some.
well, there's a caveat there.
There's a caveat.
There's a caveat.
Where's
But
the
the police
estate?
commissioner
If
could
you're on
ask
patrol,
you to-
yes, it is the road. If you're a patrol officer.
Any police division.
But okay,
Any
so
police
why? But you
division.
know, and
Yes.
again,
Any
they're
police
calling-
division.
you see, yada yada lash for this, because everything that work out in our favor, we know is bullshit, but we are like pass. Why we don't formalize and regularize and put into law proper
But
law?
in
You want?
No, well,
I just say,
we're coming to
I just
that
say,
because-
What do you think?
because
Do you
the-
agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you agree that what he just asked you, there should be an actual guidance to that? You just
There is.
Tongue-in-cheek
No, there is
There
guidance.
is.
Yeah, but
What's
the
the guidance?
plantation, that's the
Okay,
plantation.
okay, the
What's
back
the
here,
guidance?
so on the back here precept, right? It says throughout whatever company estate, also throughout the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That
So
provision.
then why are they estate police?
That,
Trinidad
no,
estate?
that provision is so that you can operate in police division. Should the commissioner say, if the commissioner tomorrow say, I want all the state police send out notice, report the station, we have
They gotta
emergency,
go.
they have to
They gotta
go.
go.
That is under the law. So that provides for you to have emergency powers. One. Two, there's also it follows the principle. There's the physical estate, but if I am put to be a bodyguard, and this is the person, he's my principal. So wherever he
Wherever
goes
he
now,
goes,
my estate.
I have the
Yeah.
powers of
Anyway.
a police officer under the rank
Yeah.
of corporal to protect him with that authority. Cable cut. Wherever they have cables you're patrolling, you can act as a police officer in that vicinity.
I'm not telling you no, I'm just
But
saying.
just throw the left
I-
Which is the whole country, which is the whole country.
But it's a
It's a
technicality.
technicality.
It is a technicality.
No, but
If you can have the authority to function as a police officer, albeit a private one nationally, then remove the word estate. If a technicality removes the word estate,
Precepted officer.
just precepted officers. Why do we
Then
require?
everybody would be the same. I mean,
No, it's not just that. You have to get a contract to bend the law. That is not fair.
The word estate is defined in the act, right?
Yeah.
As to,
It's defined
as to
in
where
the
it's defined in the act. As to where you function. Now, listen.
I am not saying
we went
no.
to,
I'm not saying no, but any of those acts now
No, but I
taken
understand
before a court for interpretation, that's what happens. The judges don't go around looking for things to interpret. But the moment somebody sues somebody and that, look at what you just reached.
Yeah.
You just reached the state fighting you to not represent the security guards that the state says, the law says
You can
are
represent.
supposed.
It's a both
No, you're right, you know, because estate at the time, if you go back to the genesis of
Genesis,
the
yeah.
law, you had no cable cut and bodyguard and VIP and
It's
patrol.
estate, it's
was a
plantation.
station, you know.
It's
So it was
plantation,
specific
it's
to a
estate.
location.
Exactly.
Yeah?
But that's why I
as
mean.
the country and the business industry evolved.
involves. Yeah,
and so forth.
But a lot nowadays, a lot of people nowadays are using, in terms of my generation or so, we use the word supplemental. We not use the word estate anymore.
Yeah.
We use the word supplemental because the estate not relevant.
As you talk about
there is a-
water,
there is a-
as you talk bottled water, and I want to say this. This is what we really drink when we're on the show. We drank rum, the show would end with table upside down.
Yeah, boy.
Especially
It was- it may start
in rum.
In rum.
Send
Send rum. Send rum.
That is not where I was going.
But go ahead.
Right. But
If you watch enough of these episodes, you will realize that Stephen Matheson doesn't get drunk on water, so we cannot have rum.
Yes.
But there must be a
On this
water
table.
company outside there who want to sponsor us. with
have
a
their label on the
on
show.
yeah, have your label on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Because you get right, okay, continue.
Rum water company.
Call for the
Rum
show
water
at
company.
7694590. We're looking for sponsors for the show, and our water companies are going to be
It should start one rum the water company.
Taking rum too.
I wanna go back to something.
Chase on the water.
This is what we're speaking about, right? And why certain things.
So you
A
can't.
lot of things that need to go in.
That's why we can't, bro. Oh, sorry.
A lot of things that need to go where they are. Needs to have somebody grieving. And the problem that I intimated earlier on, there's a lot of victimization, a lot of intimidation taking place in here.
Their victimizations are.
So people are afraid.
I would like hate to hear
I'm
about.
telling you again.
Alright.
I will go back after and play this video and identify all the points where I say he is saying some very serious things very casually. Very casually. So the industry is being manipulated internally and externally.
I know this industry like the back of my hand. Richardson, we are talking about a particular security company for which has estate constables in it, for which you represent. Right? You are telling me all of this happened, and you have that kind of protection. They have that kind of protection. You know, most of the companies I represent, you don't have a problem going to challenging certain things under disputes.
So I don't know that you don't know that we challenging it.
But
you haven't been made public notice that you don't know that we challenging it.
Okay.
So the thing is, listen.
But you're asking an important question there.
Yeah.
You're asking because the public going to watch, right? And they're going to see that your organization is the organization with the power under the law to challenge these things. And they would like to know that your organization is challenging
and
them.
our organization is challenging it.
We need to say
right?
But on that point as well,
No,
I'll tell you in
I just said earlier on, we can't even control what's been printed.
in companies, up to senior management sometimes don't know the EPA
We can't
challenge.
control. Exactly. We
Sometimes
don't,
up to senior management don't know.
they don't know.
I was
Challenging
managing
it.
certain rules, and I had officers on me, and I didn't know EPA was take until an officer come and listen now so. I say really? I say okay, because the companies try to suppress that kind of
let me bring
unionized action
the
or
intimidation factor and how the law negatively discriminates in a major manner. That same RBC judgment, right? You had, when that judgment came out, SWAT had a couple of matters. They immediately notified the association. Hey, you don't deal with matters, you have no local standard. Good? So, the former branch board, it's a branch board inside now. And we write to them and say, listen, we have a branch board inside. Branch board form a WhatsApp chat. Good? Now all of a sudden, they start to complain now that they've been moved.
put you somewhere comfortable.
Put you somewhere and thing now, and so instead
like
of 12 hours and thing, right?
Or put you on a, instead of a 24-hour location, they go put you on a day like on a 8 to 4.
Man, have it complete.
Right? That's what you do. Put you 8 to 4, put you open and close.
Right? So we write them and say, listen, tell what? I think you're victimizing our police or our officers because of the representing in the SDPC police. Write me back and say, that is not true. But here what is this arrogance has come out. They said, even so, there is no law in this country which says that any employer of a security of an estate constable cannot coerce or intimidate anyone from joining an association because you're not workers under the Act. Because you're not worker under the Act, so it means you're not covered by the Industrial Relations Act.
Right.
There's not for a worker, when every worker, you cannot. There's a law which says that you cannot victimize somebody for them. But for the EPA, because before anybody under that is not a worker, there's no law.
No, we have to start it over.
So that's why you just
have to start over.
What we have done,
shut it down.
We have written to the authority, that is why Ramis Lawrence Maraj, right, has decided that he will join with the association because we met with him. We've been trying to get people there. So we met with him. And when he said, well, Richard, what really going on here? And he decided that he will throw his weight and his team behind the association to try and fix it because the laws is what discriminated against. Because let me put one more thing for you. One more thing where the law is concerned. In 1994, Ken Collis signed the minimum wage sectorial order for security industry. Inside of that document had
He was the Minister of Labour.
Minister of Labour at the time. Signed for annual leave, sick leave, and the provisional uniforms. Good?
Yeah.
In 1995, everything came out. So today, if you would pick up the Minimum Wage Act and look at the sectorial orders contained in that act, you will see for catering industry, gas station attendants, and all of them, they could get annual leave, they could get sick leave, and all the other things. But if you look for the security industry, there is absolutely nothing. So right now, there is no security company that is compelled by law to give anybody sick leave or annual leave.
But that does not affect you.
Eh?
That does not affect you.
It affects me. Hold on. It affects me.
Because
It affects me. Hold on.
No.
Hold on. Because remember, Tina 2012, ST 13 2012, G4's judgment.
Right. No. We're not talking about the minimum wage. The 12 hours.
Hold on. No.
That's the 12 hours they're talking about.
Yes.
I am talking about.
But listen to what about the judgment. That judgment also stated.
I want to know who
You're not on.
I want to know who took it out.
Yeah. Exactly. But we commented that just now.
I want to know.
Yeah, wait to tell you this.
So under that you know, remember the special tribunal say
I
it
want
not
to know who
covered.
take that out.
So if you don't have an agreement with the estate
Right, but
police
if you are now going, if you are the estate police, you are statute to have RMUs, but not RMUs, agreements.
I consider every estate police. I
So
consider every estate police, right? I remember the estate. So when I speak,
you're talking about all
I
the
speak
estate police.
all the estate police.
Yeah, but
right?
I mean that should be a half. You have to put them to join
But I want
the estate police
to
association.
interrupt
It
to
should,
say this.
should be. So in
I want to interrupt to say
1994,
this.
if
one
all
thing.
recognized in
I just want to say
1995.
this one thing. And I want to get this on record. Every estate police officer who is not a member of your
They
association
should join.
is weakening their own bargaining
Exactly.
Correct.
and are responsible
You know what?
for their own conditions by failing to
But
organize.
what happens is that you see they will come, they will make deal with management, they'll make deal with things, they'll get an extra what you care, and when things nice, when the day things don't end up nice,
Then they're running down.
then they have to run it. But at that point they've already
that's-
weakened their
No, that
position.
isn't. They still. I mean, you see, because the Estate Police Association is what it is is difficult to do that. I'm telling you, if people know their rights, if estate police know their rights, they will join you without fear.
Listen, they demonize me for saying that in the training. They should speak to them about people when you're doing precept training about rights in terms of once you become precepted, their responsibilities and their rights that you are now allowed. For example, representation by
You know what's the most notorious
want to hear
union in the world? The truckers union.
Yeah,
The truckers, the Teamsters.
they will shut down all
The
logistics.
truckers
They
union.
will shut logistics down.
But people
That
tell
thing
you,
done.
you can't build nothing in New York City without talking to the Teamsters. Your cement will get hard in truck.
And the thing is, right? I realize the problem too
That's a,
is
When you're
and
building
this
like a
across the
building.
board. This across the board. But the problem across the board, right, is we continue not to understand the kind of strength we have in numbers now.
That's the
That is-
whole
because you
point.
said because here I take out
That
now.
is the whole
Here one of the
point.
points I take
That
from
is
him.
Trinidad problem.
Here-
That's Trinidad
Here one of the
problem.
points I take from him. You said that if all of them was to join, you would have the biggest association in Trinidad and Tobago. As far as I know, the PSA, if I'm not mistaken,
4,000 members.
the PSA,
How many members there?
I have no clue. That's
There's about 4,000-6,000
I wouldn't know that. I
members.
wouldn't know that.
No,
the PSA, but as far as I know, I think
PSA
that's the largest association.
PSA,
I could be
you're talking-
mistaken.
Don't call the same thing with them. Public workers as opposed to PSA members.
Public workers are about 34,000.
Right, but how many are PSA members?
Not too many.
Okay.
I don't have that figure.
But okay, who would we say is the largest association in the country?
But
No,
it used to be.
Used to be OWTU.
Used to be OWTU.
Used to be OWT.
Yeah, but not anymore.
Alright, but not anymore since
Well,
the
they shut
show.
up.
It was always
Right.
PSA by the
So-
it was
yeah,
always
it was-
PSA.
But I think
But
PSA, right?
Association union.
Yeah.
So when you
Yeah.
say that if everybody come on board, or at least let me say 80 to 90% of the people come on board, you would have the largest association. I think the problem is people don't understand the strength
In
and the
numbers.
power,
I will say-
the bargaining
I will-
power that they would have.
Well,
And that
but-
bargain,
but-
they have to understand that that bargaining power is far
But not-
greater
not just-
than any little deal
not-
you could cut with
but just
management for
the-
an
I-
hour.
But I want to throw this
No, but
out
you haven't
there.
made that point because
Before-
Trinidad doesn't hear this. And you had to say that again. Because your little deal that you make on the side have a shelf life.
That's why management glad to give you the deal
But
to
even
keep you
before-
to keep you
right before
separate
your
from the
time
rest.
there-
You look at it.
Yes.
I was a senior manager
That's
position
what
in a
it is.
large
Respectful
rather
for
large
quality
company.
labor.
Yeah. And I tell you,
And
the
that's
few
that,
things when the EPA came to us, what matters that we had, and we had meetings also. Honestly, from a management perspective, whatever the EPA was jamming us on or speaking about was never unreasonable. I never saw it because then it's okay. Well, they went to the union and I say, yeah, but what the union is saying is not unreasonable. What they're asking for is, besides from what they're entitled to,
Osman,
they're not being
You are
contentious or
management. You are
unreasonable.
management. You're talking productivity. There are people who looking at numbers.
But boss,
there are people who looking
watch
at.
this.
I sit down in a meeting and hear a man say they taking the envelope in the box of chicken and chips by a 1/4 inch and save $7 million a year in fries.
No, but here,
You understand?
but here-
You looking at productivity.
Yep.
They have people who looking how we could make
no,
more
but you
money.
talking about material. I'm talking about human beings. If morale is up, if you encourage your officers, you should tell them that when you see a beaten officers mentally, you go give them training, give them thing, give them
Paul, Trinidad businessmen,
guidance.
Trinidad
They will
businessmen
work
know
for you.
if you give the workers a share in the profit, if you tell them once losses down and productivity up, you get a share in the profits.
You hustle that, you hustling, they work hard.
Oh, you don't treat that thing so,
They
you
go
work
work
that,
hard.
they
They
will
go
treat it
work
like
hard.
this. Why Trinidadian businessmen do not treat workers so? You know why? Because we treat workers like they're transient. We treat workers like we want them to have no rights. You must exchange your labor for money to the terms and conditions.
We never came out of the plantocracy. Mentally, we never came out
The
of it.
point he just made is Trinidad on its knees. I read a post where Linda's saying, well, we have no choice. The price of flour, you know we had a raise. Linda's is the most expensive bakery in the country. And I'm watching everybody on the media trend, whatever media thing. And they're talking that and they're saying, but we use the most expensive. I say, you know, Trinidadians, we real dotish. If all you stand down, if Linda's open for the next 3 days and nothing sells,
They go bring down the price.
They have a
Price
choice.
will go down.
Linda's the same. Linda's will point on the
Yes.
release. We've heard you.
Correct. They will say
Alright,
it.
and
You
we've
think-
heard you.
Listen, you think when you said the OWTU
KFC and KFC here.
was the largest union?
Condiments.
When they went to sell the
When,
ketchup,
when they said the OWTU was the largest.
Well, I
Is that
don't
the
think
reason
no-
why
I don't
they
think
were
that- I don't think there ever was really.
No, but okay, but
They
they were very powerful.
very large.
They were very large and
powerful.
very powerful.
But they
And they
were
have
the
no
most
power
vocal, I
now
would
because
say.
they shut it down. When they shut down, when they take the decision to shut down Petrotrin, it wasn't to shut down Petrotrin, you know. It was to dismantle.
Emasculate them.
Well, yeah, that's
Listen, everybody is now
The same way that
coming to
dismantling
Yeah,
them.
they- well, because
everybody
you know,
is
they're
now
not-
coming to
they're
the
not all
realization that the unions in Trinidad and Tobago are not wholly interested in the rights and the benefits of the workers.
Correct.
If you treat with the union leadership, the same doggy look a bone.
Yeah.
You could doggy look a bone the leaders of the union, and you could make them work against their own members.
But that's been happening. That's what's been happening.
That's what happens.
When
I met with TSTT Union, CWU, when we were in Stanmore Avenue. They came to us to tell us about plenty things about that. My telling you all have certain steps to take. Do you know at that time, one of their lawyers was a cabinet minister?
Really?
One of their lawyers.
One name conflict interest. One name conflict interest.
So you himself to himself determining you, Trinidadians. And let me
But
tell
how
you,
you have a union leader bowling? We are a boycott the 1% and then drop it to our Benz. Where he buy BMW? So where he buy that from? Answer Motors, right? Oh, come on, man. The nonsense that be going on. The nonsense going on.
That same union leader tried to play high stakes poker, and he bet his members' future,
Everything,
and
and
lost everything.
Correct.
And he fighting
That's
up
it,
now.
yeah,
He fighting up now to try and find relevance again. Hitching a ride with every other union.
He bet the union. He bet the union. He actually bet the whole
organizing
industry.
this match. He organizing this match on the strength of other unions Friday.
Yeah, because he had
Because
numbers.
Whereas
Got no
before,
numbers.
if your workers union say they marching, but they
That's no
marching, right?
numbers.
Massive numbers.
His numbers have been
You gamble with the industry, and you lost your gamble. You lost your bet.
But they took the
And-
gunpowder.
and-
They took your gunpowder. Your gunpowder was your
But
members.
who's suffering?
They asked
Who
you.
really suffering now? The workers.
He is.
And
He
The workers
killed the
suffering.
goose. He killed the goose that let it
oh
go.
gosh, you know, man.
You put your members on the
Gosh,
table.
500,000, 105, 500,000. I think is that man.
You know, one of these times.
Nice one.
You know, one of these times.
Tell him. Watch. Let me show you.
One of these sad reality. I mean, looking at the climate in Trinidad and Tobago, right? One of the sad reality of labor and industrial relations in Trinidad and Tobago is that we do understand that the system is made up of, you know, three actors, right? You have government, you have management, and you have workers.
And everyone
right?
acted.
So, and if the system that was probably closest to perfect in the Caribbean used to be Barbados. They're still like that to some extent. They had a tripartite kind of arrangement where labor, management, and
State
state were actually working
to agreement.
in agreement with each other to do almost everything, right? We supposed to have a what you call the
Well, where they leave the other day, what do you call this thing?
right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to have
that,
right? Tripartite.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what people does not appreciate is that management could somewhat fix that. I mean, they somehow try to use that kind of unitary perspective and trying to keep out labor out of the business so that they could do what they want. Some of them, the way they do that, the textbook way to do that is to pay workers good, make them happy and that kind of thing. But they don't do that. And the thing is, one of the things management somehow does not understand is human resource and human resource management.
Nope.
Because if you have good human resource management in your business, you will hardly need a union.
Because what you're saying, and what people have to agree, what you're saying, is that all of those three interested parties have to work together to get a positive outcome at the end of the day.
Because at the end of the day, you're looking for productivity, but you're looking for productivity. Well, you're looking profit, productivity equal profit. No, but what you're looking for really is to have a harmonious relationship, industrial peace.
You're talking about tripartite. We're talking about triumvirate, where you have an emperor and two other people assisting
and for you to get an industrial peace, you have to understand the value of the human resource. You have to understand how important that. If your business doesn't run on machines, then the most important asset in your business is the capital, the human capital.
Henry Ford said when they tried to get him to automate the Ford Motor Company, he said, who will buy Fords? If robots building the cars, who buying the cars?
Right, but what I'm saying is,
I sit down here and I all beat labor, right? We call who and say who bet union and all kind of things, right? And I part of labor, right? I'll make a something. If we're talking about that Petrotrin issue, we don't talk about that Petrotrin issue a whole time. Because
there's a whole program.
There's a whole program.
That's all myself.
There's a series.
Right? That matter concerning the termination and the thing. A number of things that happen that I don't know people forget or what. That the union, that the company, a number of things happen before they call the companies together. The company call the unions together, including the Stakeholder Association, the OWTU, and the NPSA, which represented some management staff.
Yeah.
Okay? And they said, listen, we have to work together to save this company, because the financiers to save this company says we need industrial peace. Okay? And everybody signed to work in teams, but to save this company. That same Solomon report everybody talking about and where the refinery was operating, it showed that the refinery operated in the lower fourth quartile and all that. They never said that the same report said that the salaries at Petrotrin was also in the fourth quartile. Good? So when you're comparing if you're comparing outside and you want to say where they are, look at where the salaries were in that same thing. Good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then on that same note, there was never a single meeting, despite the unions and the associations writing to say, what's going on here? Then boom, on the 28th of August, somewhere around there, they call and they say about they want to come and have a meeting. Right? But remember, we were meeting with the board. So I spin on the steam. And then they come now and say, hey, everybody going home. And you know what I put it up on the slide? Full exit.
I'm going to ask you one question. Because I remember CNC3. I remember CNC3 talking about people driving in to the oil field and doing what they want days after, because the Petrotrin police had been fired. And a private security company who knew nothing about it was banning the gates. And I wanted to ask you a question as you're here. Where they find the money to pay them? That they didn't have to pay Petrotrin police. Who hired
ex-Petrotrin police, pay them less to go back and work as bank officer.
Yeah, but
we going into it.
When they decided to make the decision to send home the estate police, on the 28th of November 2018, I met with Mr. Espine in his office right down the boulevard down the road. Right? I said, Mr. Espine, you're making a wrong decision. So all they saying that the EPA, the union come and say the same thing. I say this.
But he didn't
this
recommend.
company,
He didn't recommend closing. He
never
didn't
recommended
recommend
closure.
retrenching people.
Say this company that is Petrotrin cannot just be the security of this company is different to every other environment that you have. I showed them they had a pumping jack as a model of a pumping jack on the thing. I said, Mr. you see that what you have there? I see them scrap dealers are them. I see like food. That is food for them.
Boss,
Right? Hold on. He said to me, rock back. He said Richardson. And I say that because God rest his soul, this is Alvin Simmons, so the senior IR manager, everything was saying alright there, with his team, Betaku and all of them. And them all of them could be called. And he rocked back after and he said, go and form a company. Don't tell nobody I gave you no contract, eh? Right? Go and form a company to see what the guys after they don't have amalgamated are ready to start, right? 2 days before the shutdown of the company. Where they ask it to good. They do so and they think with it. All of a sudden, the same thing come and happen. Man, them scrap dealers and them cutting the walking with a cutting torch.
I understand some people in camouflage was taking it.
That's how we end up.
And
That's
nobody
how we end up with scrap iron industry we have today.
So when it happens
Petrotrin was the food.
when
You're
it happens
right.
now, when it happens
But
now,
I understand MPs now the food that the scrapping some the chairman and MP give permission. They don't know how that happened. Because sometimes to give out a tender in MP you had to go through all kind of different you go the MP to scrap to destroy a tank somewhere in the back of Silots there.
I ain't hear about no public
And there are all kind of people going and cutting
but
tank.
I ain't hear about no public announcement for that.
No, well, I think the chairman, they say the chairman do that by himself.
What are you talking about, right? Like people get electrocuted cutting cable already. These are things that OSHA, they have strong. This is a hazardous work environment. You can't put a torch to any and everything in Petrotrin. You put a torch to the wrong thing, you're on the moon.
And that's the same thing with that tank in the back of Silots in the back of NP that
And there is liability now if you
scrap and cut it
And
up.
that's what happened.
It's
And
liability.
come full circle. That is why 4 men dead in a piping barrier. That is why 4 men dead in a piping barrier. Because how we go hang, we go swing, we go save money, we go work to the lowest common denominator. People without the right knowledge going to be giving out contracts, and it worked for a while. And then
can I compare that to the security industry for a second? Watch this. When you go and do for security officers, and when especially precept officers, but even for we call battle officers, certain contracts some clients are very particular and don't just want a guard or watchman to stand. You know, to do orientation, right? So you have to have oriented officers for some locations. And when you go, if you go and you are a security manager for a company, not for the security company, and you see certain things, sometimes you want to come, all right, you want to see where your training facility is. You want to see part of your training program. You want to see the orientation program. And wait, no, this is supposed to be, if this and that not there, we can't deal with you. So either get this and that up to standard, or we'll go elsewhere. It's supposed to be that with other industries too. If you go for equipment,
Of course.
okay, I want to see what your safety procedure. Let me see a safety policy. Let me see
But
the safety policy.
brother, every single person,
the maintenance policy.
this commission of inquiry, fast, that they're doing right now, is to hope people forget. But what I told Satish,
And to pay some people.
what I told Satish and I told our lawyers is that every single piece of footage that we have documented, we've backed it up, and we will make it available before, during, and after the commission of inquiry. That certain things took place, and we put it.
If that is not called, if they do not call that for that footage in the question inquiry, it is a total
You know it's a
farce.
farce. But I was going to tell you just then, I was going to introduce
That's
this
live
because I
footage.
was talking to somebody about this today. You all remember when the Iron and Steel Company at Trinidad and Tobago, when the talk was it losing $1 million a day? $1 million a day. ArcelorMittal take over that plant.
That's before my time.
And all he did was fire the management. All he did. And that plant went on to make him
Oh yeah.
the biggest,
Largest in the world.
largest in the world.
Yeah.
Trinidad plant that we couldn't run. Trinidad plant that when we had it was losing $1 million a day, made ArcelorMittal the biggest man in steel in the world. We had the MF Panorama and it was listing and sinking. It now running
Hey, run nice.
beautiful and
Hey,
nice.
looking nice, boy.
Looking
It looking
gorgeous.
nice. I see pictures.
This
Wait,
problem-
wait, wait,
In
MF Panorama in Reis.
What? They fix up it running
The
nice.
MV MF, listen, Trinidad problem is management. It is always
But
management.
how you can manage a country?
You see,
How you can manage a country with the population of a city?
You see, we beat up the Grenada javelin thrower.
Wait, hey, that should be manslaughter. They threw man over the boat, eh?
And throw the
Overboard?
You
That
see
should be
that?
manslaughter.
That's
When I
right,
tell
that's
them,
Attempted manslaughter.
you going to
Okay,
tell
mention
me?
They beat the grenade. The man when he go,
what?
they beat him on a
the
boat.
the
the
common-
harbour
They just beat
When
him.
he went to go for
You
traveling in the
tell-
Commonwealth
the-
Games the other day.
They just beat him. They threw
There
him
are
overboard.
party on the harbour master and
I don't
they had a brawl and they
But we
gave
beat
some
the man and throw him overboard.
the harbour master security and then they
That
threw
need,
him-
that need to be attempted
they threw him
manslaughter.
overboard.
You beat a man to a state and then
He just
throw him
because
in the water.
recovering from minor
But the
injuries.
point I want to make about that,
But-
I'll pass on to you now.
But yeah,
I
we're
don't
going
want to
far.
say
We're going
this.
far into different things.
That is the tone of Trinidad.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is the tone. Our management, the tone of this country
But we
is bullying
what,
and
what's the
thuggery.
population of London or of New York City?
30 million.
8.8.
How much people wait?
13
And how much people run the city compared to how much run Trinidad and Tobago? How much you have?
Well, I
Positions, everything.
I remember.
And carrying it.
I just want to. I remember
carrying it.
interviewing
The police
David
service
Abdullah.
smaller than ours.
I remember
Yeah,
interviewing
yeah.
David Abdullah on that Petrotrin issue, the Lashley report and the Solomon report. And I remember Abdullah saying there was never any recommendation to shut down Petrotrin.
He said-
never a
It was
recommendation.
always recommendations of management restructuring.
Management
What is the guy name? You just talk about
Human
him.
employment.
Espinade. 3 months before, let's forget Espinade said the company turned a corner
And look,
Yeah.
and was profitable.
when you talk
and
about-
then Franklin can 3 months later come and say, if we don't shut down Petrotrin, we'll shut down the economy. I'm still trying to get people to explain.
But
it.
around that time, Raul was saying we are not going to shut down Petrotrin.
and just on
What-
the
what-
total
what-
estate,
what
on
brought
the
about
estate
it?
police being removed.
Because too much people was
If I
closing
remember
the
the
fridge. They
background
didn't
of that,
care. You know what he said that?
He alluded to a point earlier in the bank. In terms of the estate police being removed from Petrotrin grounds and things, because that's a huge, right, to secure.
And you need the knowledge to secure that. Eh?
Then, the
You
knowledge,
need
because
knowledge
you
to
said
secure.
earlier, you will go to the bank and the security officer or the whoever, the estate, whoever.
Depends
Right?
on- depends
He
on
will
where
tell
that
you,
would-
you need to go here and get that form, you need to go so
I went
so
by
they,
my
they
sister.
educated on the running of the
Stephan,
on
I went by my sister's
and
office. I
estate
told her,
police who working on in an industry like that.
No, I'm Petrotrin, they're
Have
very trained. They have a
institutional
lot of
knowledge.
training.
You're talking relevance. Who said I was
But,
important to
when that
anybody?
same
But that's
Who said I
right.
was important to
So now we know the move that was
Just-
made.
I want to stick in here, and I don't want to lose this point before you leave. We were on the point of debating the private security bill. It just in the morning, I saw it up. By 12, I didn't see it, and I call you. I said, but I thought, what caused that bill? Because it was management. They said, you can't. I want this is a 40 point. Go ahead now. How that move from the order paper in less than 2 hours?
Alright.
Was carried to debate at one
But,
time.
but you just tell me that he just tell me, and I asked Stephan, who have the power to remove a piece of law?
This one.
Who remove a piece of
They
law?
had the private security industry bill that is sent to the Senate to be debated. They didn't inform us, right? They didn't inform us, and they also had this amendments to the Supplemental Police Act, which they didn't inform us. Right? Okay. We were informed that all you know this thing going on. We said, well, what is that, buddy? So we started to make calls to find what already going on. Okay. So that was the Wednesday that we had the Wednesday. So about the Friday, so I put one of the members of Parliament, their representative called me and say, hey, I have to debate this thing. I want to know what is the EPA's position. I said, you're the only person who ever
Ask.
so you have a supporter.
What you saying? We're going to debate a bill to amend.
Yes.
About a body.
And the key players.
The body
Not
itself.
consulted.
Not consulted.
The body itself is not
No,
consulted.
But remember, let me go back a little bit. Remember, we had a couple joint select on that.
Yeah, but listen, but that was
And-
2018.
Right.
That was 2018.
That was
and they
So,
have changed
so
it.
you're saying there were changes, significant changes.
Lovely.
At the
There were
start,
changes.
at the start, yeah.
Because I remember I had represented the security industry in the first 1 or 2
Yeah.
of
But
those
after they
joint
changed
select.
it, but
Yeah, but listen to this.
we weren't
So-
invited.
So they do so now, and they ask me the questions. I tell them what are our concerns and why we think that this bill is not in the best interest of the industry. Give them that, they will rock back. I say, wow, okay.
But
Then Ministry of National Security people call them. We give them our thing. Then, so we say, well, we're not, I see it, as you just everything, we ain't see it on the order paper, but we ain't trust nothing, we trust nobody. We went to the parliament, to sit down in the parliament, to hear them debated. While we there, Senator Wade Mark came and informed us that, hey, the thing has been set aside for the next session of parliament, right? I would like to think that...
So it's coming still, so that we may have some...
You may have something coming, right? So I don't know.
But what were some of the concerns that you believe caused them to change their mind from debating it that day? Got curious.
Well, the things that we would have informed them. Listen, if you're taking estate, because the bill, this private security bill, says in section 85 of it, that on the coming of this bill, the persons in the private security industry will have to give up their precepts. So here you are, having been under the cover of the Estate Pool Association for all your career, right? Have an agreement. So you're working allied. You have an agreement with the Estate Pool Association for terms and conditions. And you're saying that you have to give up that precept, which will now make you now a security officer and not an estate police officer. So all your terms and conditions go down the drain.
Right.
And you're going and put that in a place now where there's no representation, nothing with that. Then you say no, because you have no precept, right? They're going to give you a license, which you have to pay for.
For the firearm.
No, the license.
Or for the
license
security.
to operate.
Yeah, like how they have a G license in Florida and F license and all.
So you have this license which you have to pay for, and it is renewable every 3 years. One, if I had to pay for my license, that make me a private contractor.
Correct.
Two, if I had to renew it, I could only have my job is as long as it is renewed. So if I working with you, you can't give me a job letter past 3 years.
Then you're no longer a worker.
Correct. You're contractor now. You're contractor. You're on contract. You understand?
So before now, especially like in the state sector, the commissioner of police would have never give a firearm user's employee certificate unless you are a precepted officer.
Correct.
Right? What we started to see was that persons in the industry would have used the Firearms Act in its literal sense and whoever started to sign off on it, that private security officers without a precept will carry their FUCs. Now, in the previous incarnations,
that was a bypass.
Yeah.
Again, say that and explain to people.
No,
but explain what you just said.
Right, I'm just saying
that people who are not precepted, who does not have a firearm user's license, was given a photocopy document from inside a company.
No, what I said is that the
who was issuing the user's license for employees?
The commissioner of police, right? They would issue a firearm user because you are an employee, you are a business owner, you have a FUL, firearm user's license, and you decide you're working on it. You have your cashier, whoever you want, and you are applying to the commissioner of police for a firearm for that place. I would love
so that they can use any firearm attached.
But it is not the same. It is not the same stringent procedure to get a license. It is an attachment to my license.
Yes.
So it's an addendum.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you get to meet my employee, or does it matter?
No, they have to invest. No. They have to go through the investigation. There's things that they have to go through. Not as stringent as the FUL, but there's a process of investigation which the precept.
Company will do that.
But the precept now. Already to get precepted, you have to go through investigation. There's a certain amount of work that has to be done. Yeah. So it eases up the process in that this person has already been checked out to this degree to be given no enforcement authority.
So we raise all those issues about so that is one of the things that are serious that we raised, right? Concerning this bill that you want to bring.
Because that bill will have totally emasculated.
It will have totally
it wipes it out. It wipes it out. What on the other
is that the intention?
That is the intention.
It looks so.
I have said that publicly all the time. That is the
intention. The unions have a threat that they want to do that.
Yes. If everyone do
I don't think that was the intention. Maybe that was a consequence of profit.
Listen,
but we had to go back to where's the mischief they was trying to fix.
Right. So the mischief they was trying to fix, in my opinion, was to standardize and regularize the security industry. Make everything one. Make a security officer a responsible unit, in that you now have to answer that particular body
Right.
or
security company.
So that's
No,
this.
but-
not
No,
a
but you
security
could do that
company.
with
All
security.
security companies, all security
But you,
officers
no, but you could
would have been
amend the
regulated.
act. You could
in that kind
amend
of
the
way.
supplemental
The
police act. You
supplemental
could amend
police act.
it.
And do
Yes,
all
they don't have
rules
the
and
place.
sign it for which
Well,
the rule of the
yeah,
management.
well, yeah,
So
they could
he
have
asked you a
amended
good
it.
question there.
They could have amended
He asked
it.
you a good question there because, and I want to ask that question. I never accept the government's position on face value. I always think he used to write good mischief.
There was a
He asked what Mr. China.
there was a meeting.
I want to ask what Mr.
There
China
was a meeting with CARICOM a few years ago, and I could say it because I was in the meeting. Right, they asked me to come to represent small business providers, and I was a monopolist. All right, I went and what I was hearing coming from a lot of the Trinidad representatives, including senior police officers, that went to speak about the private security industry. I sat down and said, but they have no idea what it's even speaking about. They don't know about the industry,
And that
but they
is
want to
my
make pass
challenge.
laws about industry
Yeah.
and change up. Yeah, we'll do this and do that, but they don't know the industry.
Yeah.
Well, they brought. I remember the first joint select, the first joint select
First one,
committee
yes.
meeting. They had a security professional from England. I don't know if you remember
It was not
that.
joint select, but it was our consultation.
Consultation.
Right, the consultation and high tech. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, a lot of the suggestions and that kind of thing that came out of that, I couldn't see it working in Trinidad. And
Correct,
obviously,
it's not
here.
I saw it working against the EPA. And I thought that maybe they should have some kind of consultation. They should have probably find a way to tweak or amend
We have legislation that could be amended.
And listen,
You choose your
in
amendments, you put it in.
In 2018, we appeared before the joint select.
But it supported your friends and them, the big security companies.
Of
Exactly.
course, it must. But
Exactly.
that's prerequisite to pass
But
through.
that
That's a
makes sense.
prerequisite.
and that,
But it makes sense
fellas,
now.
that is where, if this was a real rum shop, we call for rum. Because I want to tell
That
you,
makes
and I
sense.
want to
Yep.
say this, that is the mischief.
That is,
Yeah.
so,
I want to bring it out.
so here what, and I want to bring this out to you now. That
Come
same
with it.
2018, we produced 2 documents for them, right? 50 pages by one, by about 12 pages by 2 documents we gave them. And we went to the joint select committee.
Recommendations.
Yeah.
Or as they call it, missing paper.
Right? Yeah. The document that came to us and said, listen, you will have 5 minutes in which you will present yourself and what your organization and so, right? And then you will be questioned on your submission. Now, we know we send you some documents. Okay. So, of course, I made my submission as the president of the association and introduced everything. So, we were waiting now for the question, and no questions have ever come. But what was very, very
Instructive.
instructive, and I want to go back because it on YouTube and thing there, right? That's in. I was here. I had the my education and research officer, Mr. right next to me. Then I had the assistant general secretary, St. Nicholas. But then to my left, right, would have been John Aboud, representing ASCOT, the Association of Security Owners of Trinidad and Tobago. After him would have been the secretary of ASCOT, Imshad Mohammed, right? So Imshad Mohammed right now would have been
Who's also amalgamated.
Imshad Mohammed now. After Imshad Mohammed, you have now the next Michael. No, Michael Abu, representing Amalgamated. Then you had behind now, you had all the CEO and all the big wigs from Amalgamated Security. So I sit down and I said, this is an industry thing here. How come? Look at what we see here. Look at what we see here. I mean,
So coincidental, boy. So that
You
all
understand?
them end up there, right? So coincidental.
it came in, I'm telling you, we told them in the document, right, that there is absolutely no need for this bill, so that what you can do is amend the supplemental police act.
Correct.
We brought out all the issue concerning the contract about the thing. Everything we say in here was with them in 2018 in that document. So we have said nothing different than we said in 2018.
And Derek,
That will be now.
Derek, call it a blame, boy.
Not
Call it a
mobilizing.
blame. And I tell you why I want to say why. I want to tell you why I'm saying all it a blame.
Go ahead.
Because these people had all your line and all your measure early o'clock, and y'all didn't see them coming. Y'all didn't see them coming. Y'all didn't see the mischief in the bill. Joke and fun aside, y'all didn't see the mischief in the bill. And this is how Trinidad is being taken apart. They study in here.
Derek,
I want to finish. I want to finish this. They study in here. When they go for Wassa, they come in. They don't pelt a small stone, you know. They come.
No, but they do it overnight. They have everything planned and they drop it on you.
Thing is dislodge and things that move. You have to wait certain time for this to fall apart, and then you can come and put in things. Listen, there were enough security officers available to replace Petrotrin security. How much security guards there was? How much security officers Petrotrin was?
Yeah, about 300.
But boss, they had
Boss,
when they
you didn't have to put out a call for workers on vacation. This was a play. All of this was already known. You cannot have 300 and that's per shift.
Of course.
No.
300 total.
300 total.
Yeah, but 300.
But 300 extra
100 shift on average.
Yeah, all told probably.
All right.
about-
So watch this.
Trinidad
Let me say something.
is being.
You know what?
You gotta give them. You know what? You gotta respect. You gotta respect their ability.
And
bro.
labor is an incredibly
Stephan.
difficult thing in the security industry to get.
Let me
No,
Labor is a hard thing.
but you see,
They
people
plan that. They
used to
plan that
talk-
well. They plan that
People,
well.
when I was campaigning in South, somebody take me in a community, and I swear I must see about 50 or 100 mansions in varying stages of completion, all overrun with vines and bush. And he said, all that, bank take back all that. That was workers, senior workers. When you're working Petrotrin, the bank call you, hey, come down.
Big, yeah, no, I got big loan.
You're a permanent worker in Petrotrin. That was the Vatican. That was sacrosanct.
No.
That wasn't easy to break. They found the pieces. They found who in the union. This was not an easy play to break that.
No.
Let me tell you the labor strength has been eroded, right? The Petrotrin termination was well structured in the sense of they recognize in order for you to do that you need to put public against the workers. And they put on everybody, they put on people's salary, lie and all kind of
Salary envy,
salary envy, wage envy. So I think be the whole thing in this country.
Yeah.
And everybody,
The greedy Petrotrin workers.
So greedy
That was
Petrotrin
that was
workers.
narrative.
That is what it was. So let's say that a cleaner, which Petrotrin do hire cleaners, they have contractors that do cleaning, getting XYZ.
10,000 a month.
10,000 a month.
Who was saying
Right?
The rara, they put on the
Well,
rara.
okay, right. Just let me just say this. That's your answer. The biggest rara in this country was Ansel Roger and the OWT. Where were they? Where was their response?
Ansel Roger, the response was there. The response was there, but nobody listened. And everybody had drowned out what they were saying.
I watch Ansel Roger and David Abdullah march Kamla out of office. I don't care what they tell me. It wasn't Rowley. It was the OWTU. It was Ansel Roger and that mannequin. It was birds fly high and come down to earth to die. I stand up. He stand up there. We was on the same stage. Ansel Roger, David Abdullah and the OWTU could have stand up against a whole government. When they came for Petrotrin, where was that same answer?
That same Ansel Roger and the same David Abdullah and all the blue shirt army and including the seat police, right? We put it out. It was put out. People bought their salary slips. All those people who were the classification you're talking about bought it out. But again, once you have the public against you, everybody.
You don't have plenty redundancy in Petrotrin.
But what you said, they measure
working like you are
by the time you come to too late.
Every time government change.
Everybody
Ansel Roger was outplayed.
Everybody acknowledged that there was need to restructure.
He tried to make a play.
There was an agreement to
That
set
was
the
it.
restructure.
Made a play for the
That wasn't the whole
He tried to make the
patriotic thing.
play with
What he say? Listen,
patriotic.
Made a
listen.
play for the king.
No, that's
He was-
after.
that-
No, you realize after.
Derek, all that, this is what I'm trying to tell you.
You feel like that, don't feel like after.
If you have 300 security officers to replace the Petrotrin workers, if you already have that, what Stephan said, all those players
They measure that before.
were ready.
By the time you come out with
Let me tell you.
you think
I don't know.
lying about salaries.
I agree with you,
come
Stephan. I agree with you.
Yeah.
up
That
instantly.
it was and I said before
It was constructed
it was
skillfully.
constructed. It was skillfully
So
done.
that's all. Yeah, my
Get
point.
them done.
My point is this. I explained. I said something to my audience Because I was talking about the Lake Asphalt situation with no audits for 7 years. No financial audits in Lake Asphalt.
7 years. So breaching the law, okay.
Since this administration take over, no audit in Lake Asphalt for 7 years. Lake Asphalt went from making a profit under the last administration to running a loss now, or only making $1 million a month, right? Because guess why? When they shut down Petrotrin,
No bitumen.
they shut down the. Thank you. They shut down the bitumen line, right? So the thing is this, right? I was telling the audience on that topic. When we sit down as average citizens and see them making decisions, and it don't make sense to you, it's because you ain't thinking like them. You thinking like you, a commoner. You have to start thinking like them.
And as he say,
Why would they make a decision like
but
that?
as he said to her,
Right?
critical pieces of information are not being covered by the media.
Because the media is a waste of time.
Well,
but we know that
Listen,
critical
the media is bought and paid for.
I came into office in this thing 2018. Somewhere around 2019, the CEO, let me just think, CEO of Lake Asphalt went on. I saw him on TV6 and more, saying, "Listen, we have to rebrand this thing, right? Because there are problems. Because again, they shut down and they recognize that the business model was based on really and truly bitumen. So while you hear calling it Lake Asphalt, the business model there wasn't based on really the product. They had products that they were selling out and they said that, but the business, all the money they was making was on bitumen. So when they do that, they realize, hey, the products that we making now, which is most expensive, right, than every other product, that here we're going on, hey, we have to get up and move, right? But it never happened though. They had to have some capital injection into building new plants, which never came.
Right.
So they run it to the point now where here we're going on.
But they promise, no? But they promise, the big promises.
Right?
Big
So
promises.
that is now, you find people and getting paid on time, this and that, the other. And it's a classic playbook. You run something down to the critical
The
mass.
average Trinidadian not seeing the same
and
way that we
hold on, Lake Asphalt. You saw that report? You read that report?
No.
I will send it to you. Lake Asphalt. You see that same playbook that they use with Petrotrin? I get the same feeling about Lake Asphalt. Petrotrin wasn't only supplying bitumen, you know. They were supplying it at a subsidized price.
Brother, you see,
And hold on. They were supplying it at a subsidized price. Lake Asphalt still owes, according to the last audit in September 2015, under the previous administration, Lake Asphalt owing Petrotrin $50 million. But it had no Petrotrin to pay too.
They have a Petrotrin to pay.
Well, it have a
Heritage.
but that'll be heritage.
Yeah,
but they
they have
owing
TPHL.
$50 million debt to
TPHL.
Petrotrin. And my question
is
is
that a
this:
receiver company?
how
Yeah.
could the largest, oh gosh,
Revenue,
asphalt deposit in the world be running at a loss? How that is happening?
Because
But
because
isn't
of
it
this.
Chinese?
Because of this. Because of
Chinese
this.
and buy.
Because while
Nobody
the
buying that. The
country
thing stripped away.
because
Nobody buying
while
that.
the country talking about who owning who,
Yeah.
a private
Yes.
company was just given the license
I saw
to
it today.
issue currency.
Yeah.
And it's only a
You know who
matter
running
of
that
time.
company?
It's
You know
only
who
a matter of
company?
time. It's only a time before they become
It's only a matter of time before our
monopoly.
law is that is the company to issue currency. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. While that going on, while we talking about horn, and all of we laughing, gee.
You know who running our company, FinTech?
Who running
The
that?
phone company,
They
all
not
the
going for that.
phones going up 20%. All bills, 20%. And all that came out under law while we talking horn. Trinidadians just get caught up in the thick of stupidness.
Stupid.
So true.
That is why listen, I telling you this plain. Sharon Rowley could be screwing the neighborhood. I don't care. I don't
Totally
care.
irrelevant. Totally
It
irrelevant.
is not
That she
important
business as them
to
business
me,
and nobody
but to
business.
the United National Congress. That is something for them to stand upon because they have nothing.
While
they bring
everything while everything else there to throw, that is a big
You
issue,
take
right?
Kamla Prasad Mrs. Dono that they have 6 humps on Prada Street, Sinclair,
That's the
that
thing.
wider and taller than any hump in the country. That they had
In an instantly, all at once, put up.
put up at the same
never
time. Not in my whole
never see that.
lifetime did I see.
While you're on that topic, it has security at our park too.
That was the same.
Security just get walked to Manachi and Gada.
Bossman,
Okay.
I just want to ask a question.
Trinidad,
It's a public land.
you have to
Public
watch
land.
me.
Public land.
Watch me.
From the public. From the public.
It is now obscene when you start to strip away the players to see what exactly is going on. Charles Lutino, he said just now, he said something, labor under threat. To my mind, labor could never be under threat.
But Labour is the biggest purchaser.
Labor just not organized.
Labor brought down the Soviet Union through Lech Walesa and Solidarity in Poland. What ended up with Mikhail Gorbachev and Boris Yeltsin started in Poland with the shipyard workers. Remember that? Remember that?
I know my history.
To be,
I don't remember, but I know my history.
To be a union worker in a communist country could have been death.
Yep. And they banded together.
And they stood together. When he said labor under threat, I don't understand in a country where everything is labor. We have nothing automated.
Labor.
Everything is labor. If tonight
And purchasing power comes from labor too.
if tonight Trinidad labor stood up, if tonight
We crash. So the question now we're saying is really labor for leadership then. The problem with labor, because labor is there.
Well,
Stephen
the
Matteson-
nation have
Stephen
a problem.
Matteson
Nation
And
have
labor
a
have no leadership.
Stephen Matteson alluded to what Derek Richardson said. It is unity. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago,
But-
have gotten so good at hating each other.
and fight each other.
And
When he-
mistrust.
and envy.
mistrust.
He said, look, envy about people's salary.
Yeah.
Which was
Listen,
wage envy.
tell me if Petrotrin making money. Don't tell me if the man who cleaning the floor getting $5,000. If he getting 5,000 or 6,000, boy, bully for he get a nice job. Company making money, that's
Should make
all I
money
care
too.
about.
Money.
That is what I care about. But you
Profit
never
sharing.
gave me that information. I still don't know when Espinay said that the company turned a corner. Do you remember that?
You don't think-
when Espinay said the company turned
Yeah.
a corner? Because I remember
I
we were
remember someone
struggling-
saying we're not shutting down Petrotrin too. But
we were
here
struggling
are.
under pain, and I remember a former head of a large banking conglomerate told me once sitting down in a bakery drinking a cup of coffee, he says some bonds are coming due that they floated for Petrotrin, and for this $13 billion that Franklin Can and them had do with these gas to liquids.
The project you
and
advise
sulfur
against.
diesel and all
Yeah,
of
they
that,
advise
right?
against.
$13 billion. So they were separating revenue from debt. And if you separate revenue from that debt, Petrotrin was a profitable company. Even
But you're
with
paying
all-
back a massive failure.
you had a $13 billion debt that was, and I said to Trinidad and Tobago, if ever there is a change of government that I am a part of, and you tell me that we owe $1 billion to China for Napa and Sapa, come and take Napa and Sapa.
What Malcolm Jones?
Come on, take word for. Let's
What
take
Malcolm
it.
Jones?
Exactly. Come and take it. Come and take it. Petrotrin, Malcolm Jones was the man, but Franklin can't authorize it.
How much debt they say Petrotrin was in? 12 billion.
13 billion.
Right, and the money associated to Malcolm Jones was 12 billion.
Gas to liquids and
Coincidence.
ultra low diesel, something
And they
that
were advised against.
that we end up giving to people who served in the Senate and the
That's
Parliament of this
coincidence.
country. These are things that Trinidadians need to realize that it's not coincidental, it is actually planned. This is looting by design.
Okay, so I'll ask you. I like it. You're supposed to have more of your colleagues here. You know. What is the challenge in mobilizing labor? Because union leaders are failing at this job. Terrible. And here
Well, they part of
and
the
what I'm
system
saying is
with
that
the
workers
problem.
don't seem to have confidence that you all could take them anyway. Hence the reason they're showing no interest in joining, as the case. And you have to ask yourself why.
There's a
Because you always say, okay, the workforce outside there, those 200,000 people are working. And I doubt you're going to get 2,000 people a march with all year.
no. The
What does that say?
Well,
Because
no,
I see Phillip had something the other day. Well, best Phillip. You don't have a union by chance. There's a lot of people. Yeah, they said all year. You see it? OWTU, I know what their name, NUJ, PS. You have 5 union marching. 500 people. I'm union, you know.
I want to put it.
I see you alone marching.
But this goes
Over 500
This goes
people.
a deeper problem, you know. There are plenty people. They don't care if their labor gets next per. If they get the next ones who they support in office, they will take licks.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
That's
All right,
that's
okay.
You put it on the table.
And that,
Put it right
that,
now.
that, that,
You put it on the
right
table,
now.
but
Watch
why?
me, that is the long
You
and short
can't-
of the
you
whole
can't-
problem.
No, but you can't just accept it.
No,
You just
that-
accept it.
no,
That's why.
I
You
accept
see,
that.
you see the point he raised? Trinidadians, and I guess I have a friend, Rudy Paul. Rudy Paul said that Trinidad's problem is we don't trust one another.
And it stemmed from Capelli and Hercules.
Yep, to know.
When
I feel so here we're going out with the fellas in OW. I listen to it. Boy, I feel Roger like he make a deal or something. See him here following here. What is show now?
I can look stupid and I like to think.
Yeah.
You're not
You
thinking
see
of what.
it's not them boy and
But a lot of it is
Contract
excuses for.
When contract labor started becoming norm in this country, right? Public service.
Decimated.
Decimated. Right?
But Eric Williams showed
contract
that for
labor.
the country, for the government to have the power to do what it wanted, you needed to divide and rule. National unity has always been a joke in Trinidad.
Norm Chomsky said
nobody wants that.
that
Don't.
you must
And then we,
you must keep the worker unbalanced.
yeah.
That is the only way
And that's why
that they will
And this
stay
thing-
in power.
I have made
And
statements.
don't tell me
And
because
what's
you
the
right,
reason
man,
why
what
you
is the
have
worker?
persons on that contract. They should
Paul,
have short-term
Paul,
contract.
when I
It's to
tell
keep the
Trinidadians,
neighborhood, keep
the
the
people
three
on
things that the country is built on, any country is built on: your labor, your consumption, and your vote. That's three things. Without your consumption, we just talk, we joke and we allude to Linda's bakery. But anybody, I mean, I boycott bread for a month, and I boycott flour for a month, and the first couple of days it was hard, and after that you get through it.
You don't miss it.
We take this.
We
this
the
91,
people,
right?
no, but you see, and I
Yeah.
want to say this, Derek. You see, as long as the faces in the parliament, and I guess what you say, I don't know if the chicken and the egg. As long as the faces in the parliament can be black and Indian, and you can keep saying this is an issue that if you say it in different how you say it and how you say it. You see all that nonsense. Trinidadians keep getting caught up in it.
Because because what happens is that carnival roll on because everyone united. You're not united. You take your wine, you go home, and you're talking bad about this one.
I
You're
bring
causing problem with
I
that
bring
one.
something to the table,
So,
right? Considering the minimum wage act and the fact that they take these things out there, right?
magically.
We put it in the paper, we bring out we write to the Prime Minister, we wrote to the Minister of Labour, we wrote to the Attorney General,
You have a minister,
right? Yeah.
Is that no?
So we wrote to them and we said,
Who is the
listen,
minister?
we need these things.
This woman step
Not
for
for
TSA.
No, the
McClatchy.
Minister of
Is
Labour is
McClatchy
McClatchy,
his
Steve
name?
McClatchy.
Steve
Right?
McClatchy.
Really?
So we asked him,
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, I didn't know that.
This is
He
a
more
major
silent
issue.
than Jennifer Petrotrin.
Yeah,
Not so
boy.
much for things. This is an issue of social justice. This is an issue that I think any right thinking union leader, social activist people should know. But what really going on? Why is it that this one little sector, or this one sector of workers, right, was singled out to take away this basic right that everybody else has? So
Because it's not about the workers. It's about the value of the contracts. You all are being
in
played.
2018.
Derek, your whole association is being played by an organization who wants all of the contracts. We have a mall in Samoa that used to be a mall that is now the MTS office. Where are those workers?
Yeah, that's true.
Where's
Let me tell you
MTS workers,
Phillip, let me
Derek?
tell you something.
Where are
Hold on.
them?
Hold on. I said I mentioned it earlier. I came into office in 2018. Immediately, and I could pull it on the phone and show you. Anna Ramdas wrote an article in 2018 December. I came in 2018 November. Is this security company getting too big?
I remember that.
So we were outside of the executive, looking on and saying, "Hey, this thing." So we were prepared when we
So
came
are you
into
fighting
office.
the right fight?
Of course.
No, are you fighting the right fight? Listen to what I'm asking you. Because you are being beaten at the level of where legislation and decisions are made. Are
Right.
you fighting their plays? You should be fighting a different fight.
What fight?
But
I
then
should be
what's the
fighting?
fight?
I had to get the
Because
fight.
I know
the fight
we
is
asked
just
you.
fight.
What
It's
he
a
just-
changing
all
laws.
we are going to- all right.
Consolidate.
What he just said. What he just said. What organized oil in this country wasn't union dues, you know. Roger and them benefited from the work of Uriah Bus Butler and them. But them fellas didn't start off with join and pay me $300 a year. It started off with organize the workers and make sure that they are properly benefited.
I want to put a suggestion in that case for that, because I mean, talking about what I would have seen in my time there, right, which is a new generation, what I saw from management level. A lot of the state police are just simply not aware of what they're entitled to, the association representation. Some of them don't know this association. Some of them will be put in here, well, the association just want to take a fee and that is it. So I think maybe if there's an education type of program that gets out there into the companies.
Who have time for that? When people fighting just to put food on the table today, just to get to work and get back home. You talk about men working 18-hour shifts. Who have time to educate themselves on anything? Whose responsibility it is?
No, I know what I mean is that get
I'm not blaming you. I just put in this.
Let me put it back.
But the state, Derek, just now, the state has a responsibility to protect its people, but this state is not doing that.
I think maybe the union should have initiatives to get more.
This is modern day oppressive. This is modern day oppressive. This is almost slavery. People are working
with extra steps. It's slavery, extra steps.
Listen,
that's what it is.
When we analyze the thing before, we say, hey, here we go. We need to educate people. How do we do that? We are not the most resource. Our dues per month at the time when the game was $30 a month, right?
A little more than sports club don't exist. Right. A little more.
We have to get people's confidence to ask them to raise it to $50. It is still the lowest in the entire country. Really, and university effectively being able to operate have to be 100. Yes,
as I said, I never joined.
Right? So, you know what?
Satish.
We do so, and we went on Power 102. We had a program on Power 102. Right? We bought the Ministry of Labour, all the laws about Trinidad and Tobago, labour laws. Right? We move across to I-95. We bought them again. We bought people from the NIS, from a consultant from the NIS. So, because those are the issues that really affect the working. So we say, yeah, what's going on? You have to educate people in order for them to move. They have to know that the association is here.
Yeah.
We built a website. We put on that website all the laws. We put judgments. Everything that is necessary.
I want to make a suggestion. Right? For me, you need this, and I'll make a suggestion. This, if the companies are using all this muscle and they're fighting that fight up here, you're fighting a fight. Guerrilla warfare. You start to put posters in pieces. Guerrilla warfare. You can't be there with light. You can't be there with
misery. That term, so do something else. But I want to say it. I want to. You know. I want to say every level of society have the same struggle. They fight in different faces, but this play is the same. And I realize, and this is how we ended up in politics, because you know me and politics is not my first love. That we end up in politics.
It's your first love, we know that.
I was reading something somebody sent to me last night. Right? They say the thing you have to fear in Trinidad and Tobago is a black man in office who holding on office by any means necessary, an Indian politician who want to get in office, and a poor white man.
You're missing. I'll tell you something. I
can't believe he interrupt me to talk. I want to say this. Just the solution to all of Trinidad, when chicken and egg, both chicken and egg in Palawan, the solution to all of our problems is that we need a proper caring government built on people with an understanding and an open door, so that everybody can have access, so that you can come and bring your story. Because when you sit where I sit, Stephen, you know this too, where you sit where we sit, you start to realize that everybody's story is the same story. Everybody being played the same way. He been played the same way TSTT workers was played, the same way Petrotrin was played, the same way Wassa being played.
One by one.
You know, and I compare. One by one. I'm watching the following and the support base and the interest that is being showed towards PP. I stop there and I say this. You had to ask yourself, am I relevant to the workforce? What it is they want? So the union leaders go about, well, what wage do you ask the workers what they want?
What are they marching for tomorrow? What are they marching for
When the
tomorrow?
workers
If you go back to your workers,
Yeah, but
if you
the
go back
same-
to TSTT workers, you tell them, I get you a raise, but the raise will get eaten up by the 20% increase in your own phone.
They help
But it's not,
them.
it's not,
But-
that, it's not
yeah,
that alone.
so-
It's not
so-
that alone.
yeah.
It's not that alone. Part of our march tomorrow, I think is to stand in solidarity with WASA workers. Because remember, the Minister of National Security made, well, he implied sabotage
No.
with the
Wait,
with some,
wait, wait,
yeah,
wait,
with,
wait,
no, no, no,
wait, I want to
implying
say
that
no. I want to say
with the dismissal of
we're going on.
management.
So you went for the raise for the Wasa worker.
Yeah.
When it going down the road, the pothole in the road mash up your car. So they increase your ask for 0. There is the interest.
But Derek,
you know what,
right,
Derek,
Derek is a old war horse. Derek know all that you're going on.
And look after the interest is you and the worker. You'll feel you care about him, you know.
It's
more than salary.
all of the issues now are
Salary,
Derek,
salary.
would you agree?
Yeah, but-
Would you agree?
but-
Would you agree? That's what I asked Derek a question. Would you agree that all issues now transcend workers' issues? It is not just workers' issues. That what do you say?
National
That all issues are national issues.
This is
That
it.
we are supposed to be having national conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
And unions are just leading people down the
salary.
road for salary.
Waste of time.
Wasting
I
time.
disagree with remember something. You made the point what
Because
what-
I am
Hold
for,
on.
as a management person who run, I am for focus on social waste. Social waste drive down to a large extent the cost of living for that worker, you know. I want to fight for that. Just now, that man have a smooth road that you in mash up his car.
I didn't want to go so
That-
far.
that-
I wanted to have a credit card in his wallet that he could go online and buy a
But
pants and a shoes.
we don't
And don't pay 7%
And don't pay
interest.
7%
But we don't look at value.
quality.
We don't
All
look
that
at value.
concerns the workers.
And
We
so-
don't
so-
we are
so-
70%
at
of
the
the
workers'
holistic political
Because they like to talk about raw numbers.
yeah,
and
yeah,
But
value.
just now.
It's the
Let
worker,
me- look, I want to put on my human resource hat here. But before I do that, I want to hear what
Don't do that wrong.
I want to hear
Don't do that wrong.
Coverage.
Hold on,
what
just-
Richard is trying to say.
When I say, do we do the unions act or find out what the workers want? Yes. But everybody focuses on the percentage increase that the unions are asking for. There's a whole, the most of the documents will be 5, 10, 15 pages depending on how large the thing is, right? And inside of that, you would find things for
Health and
housing,
safety
health
and all kind of things.
all of that.
Nah,
Hold on,
they
hold on.
traded that for the salary.
Hold on now,
They
hold on.
traded that for the salary. Yes, sir.
Hold on. Housing, a number of things inside of all of that, right? The people, you go and tell as you think this, you go in and accept 4%, right? And that all the people this country have been brought up on is back pay. Is back pay.
Government mentality.
Right?
Public
All
sector mentality.
this country has been brought up on back pay. When you hear people asking, they don't ask how much increase, they ask when we get
We
it
back pay.
back pay.
Yeah.
So the union,
Because court's calling you to sell your fridge.
so when you do this issue of bringing it forward, you had the Tiantek judgment was kind of pushing it to bring things forward, right? A lot of people will find themselves now not being accustomed to getting an increase without back pay.
They want the back pay. They want the
Back
back,
pay.
pay. It's like a savings.
Back pay
Like
is
savings.
driving
No,
this whole
because-
I want to hear
When
you
you ask-
Phillip and say,
But this is
So
what
It's
Right,
a bonus.
flower.
It's like a bonus.
So here what? All right. So this association. Let me. You know what we have started. When we look, I see how we're going. Hey, we in a pandemic now. What we need, what we have is a social contract,
drinking water like it's rum, eh?
right? But we know we're not resource.
you drink this much wrong with the berry ground.
We know we're not resource. So during the pandemic, when the pandemic started, nobody could get sanitizer, right? We were able to source sanitizers for people. 800 of them we couldn't get them, right? Inside that we do so, we have a women's committee. These are take the challenge to a little corridor, cook out, raise some funds, 100 bags for things that, because we know that this is a social conscience thing. we have started, and since I'm being there, to try and change the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. And we have started conversation with the companies and with the officers and them. Listen, what if we get 10%? I could go and say, all right, MTS. Let me break it down. MTS is minimum wage. That's a state company. They have no medical plan. They have no pension plan. Okay?
Oh.
No medical plan, no pension plan in MTS.
Yeah.
Right?
I do well.
So I'm saying, here what? I could go and come on the thing and say, I get 20% for you, and you want $20 an hour. Right? Everybody bought, hey, the EPA get 20%.
They're getting for we.
They're getting free. But all that is a back pay. Because that is not going to affect your pocket. Because you still have to go and pay for a medical plan or go and pay for in the pharmacy. Right? And when you reach
And
60,
$50
But there's a medical plan designed by a particular
But forget about
company
it,
for security companies.
Forget
and we
the
have
medical plan.
but you had to pay for it.
No, the one designed by, I think, a specialist insurance brokers.
Derek, what you see, you have a different conversation. He's
by the
saying to you,
cost of living that
you
nobody is
Right.
addressing.
Wait now.
And that
So
is
give
what
me how
I'm
much
saying.
increase and
Exactly.
so
Derek,
we we have to mobilize in a way to be so relevant to address where the worker is feeling the
we have
hurt.
5 more minutes.
But
We have
I
5
just
more
want to
minutes.
say this, right?
We have
I mean,
5
I
minutes.
hear both of
Everybody
you.
who talking now,
I hear-
talking
yeah,
the closing
okay,
comments.
Right. But I hear what both of you all say, right? And I think both are right to some
I give
extent.
you more increase already.
The thing is,
But that's what
the
it's
thing
right
is,
through.
while you have to look at the other issues apart from salary,
Yeah.
you have to look at salary first. You remember Maslow hierarchy and needs?
Yes.
If you don't satisfy the
Fine,
lower
that
needs,
needs.
right? The upper ones become
Optimizing needs that don't matter. as much as
So
you
at the
need.
end of the day, I agree with you, my brother, on the fact that from a management perspective, management should really look at the total wellness of our employee.
That's
Right?
what we said.
Correct.
And if you look at the total wellness of an employee, then wage and all that kind of thing will be encompassed,
Yes.
and it will be part of the system. You will have more engagement
It's
in
a
the
holistic
workplace.
system.
You will have more people, less people looking to fight here for wage and
Yes,
that kind of
of
thing,
course.
and less need for
if you take
union
it-
and a
if you take
unitary
it-
perspective. But the thing is, in Trinidad and Tobago, it don't work like that, because people just can't live with the wage that they.
It works so in the private sector.
Yeah,
We
well,
have-
not
No,
not
I-
really, not
Yeah,
really,
close it.
right?
Like-
At the end of the day, people have to live, and the most basic needs is what they want fulfilled. And if your salary, when you get your pay at the end of the month, you still have to juggle to see which bill you can pay this month and
That's
which
what
bill
he
you have to
said.
pay next
That's what
month.
he said.
You still have to look at
if
for
the
more money.
government, if the same government that is the person you have to agree with for your salary knows that coming back behind here with the cost of living, the TNTech rates going up and WASA rates
When
going
will it
up,
stop?
and the gas price going up and the flour going up, I know.
The tax.
And the tax, I increasing this, and I will.
$2 stuff
So
means-
so you get your.
And I raising a ticket from $100 to $2,000 on the road.
So,
I still go with the
okay,
tax.
stop. I'm glad you said
Well,
that.
that's-
I'm glad you
that's a
said
normal
that.
fixture.
I'm glad you said
If
that.
they should implement that
Yes.
after they fix the first.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
same thing you mentioned there. So the ticket for some
A traffic ticket
yeah,
was $100 going to
Stop.
$2,000
You hear the
and all that kind of
madness.
madness.
March and protesting because who's affected by that, Phillip? The man who now get the 4% increase out of face that, you know. What I'm saying is that, and you're doing it in your union, this is why I'm trying to pull it out of you. A lot of things that impact on, you know, okay, in my industry, I really can't give no salary increase, but my cap is what I'm being paid. So it costs me on average $20.50. It costs me to have a worker. I'm limited in raising the salary because the industry rate for a security company is $28.
Correct. And
So what I have to look at
To be
is a
competitive.
lot of social wage arrangement to make sure my officers them could live. But what I like to see is unions looking at all those aspects, things that
picture,
impact
big picture,
on
big picture.
that man money. You can't be increasing salary all the time. So when you see when that ticketing going up for $1,000, all are we supposed to be on the road saying no? You see when bread went up, I want to see you marching. Not marching on 4%. My
bread's
vote is 12%.
supposed to go gold. You said, bread go gold.
I will be, that's how, you know, and it will be on the union outside there, you know. It'll be management too because I have to buy the bread too.
But exactly.
Bruh, you don't
Derek,
have to march the
Derek,
bread.
mobilization.
Let it go
Hear
gold.
this, hear this, hear this, hear this, right?
Shut it down, let go
Because
gold.
the
Leave it on
state,
shelf.
The state has a responsibility, well-being of every citizen.
Yes.
What you say just now about human resource in a company, that is how the state's supposed to view every single citizen. Every issue that Stephan is saying here, every point that he is raising. Why unions not asking for just attach all future increases to the increases in the cost of living, not a COLA allowance, automatic increases based on increases in the cost of living. You just put the parliament and the cabinet, you just give them the responsibility of keeping your salary intact. Because
no, but that's what the real societies do. I mean, look at what's happening in the US right now with respect to the interest rates and that kind of thing.
Where is that in Trinidad?
Well, it doesn't happen in Trinidad.
The conversation
Unfortunately.
we have started. We have what is our living wage?
I want to tell you this. This team, willing to sit with all the union leaders.
And give some guidance because the formula is
if they want real unity, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. You see how you said, Paul, you see how you said just now that they used public opinion to disenfranchise Petrotrin workers? You can make that work for you. You're fighting the wrong fight. You all need civil society on your side.
Full stop.
You need to unite with civil society. Derek, let me just finish this guy. What you hear what I'm saying?
I know civil society. Both sides make up your workers, you know.
Labor needs to understand that when they hang up their tool belt, they are civil society. They are. You are facing the same grocery.
Yes.
You're facing the same gas pump.
When you say civil society, this same civil society I've been speaking about God sense, right? I remember years ago, Comrade Abdullah and them was all on the promenade trying to get people to sign petition and to rally the public opinion against
Section 34?
No, not Section 34.
That's how we were
rising costs. When they were bringing in those dumping all kind of chicken here and food and all kind of
do not use past failures to equate future successes. I want to say no, but maybe we could bring up $1 million. I want to tell you this. I said to you.
The point I was trying to make is, right, when we say we rally in civil society, people who have, right, those study the next.
You see, that's why you're arguing that you're not making the correct point.
That's true.
We're not asking you to rally civil society. Paul, he missed the point. We're not asking you to rally civil society. We ask you to meet with civil society. That's my job. Let us get civil society and the unions together, because civil society have a vested interest, as Stephan said, in a happy labor.
Yep.
Happy labor is increased productivity
Yes.
right across the board.
Yes.
The whole country benefits. You are saying to me that before, and I hear this thing, let those who labor hold the reins. Let me tell you what that is. We who live and spend, we hold the reins. All of us are labor, all of us are civil society. It doesn't have to hide behind any one organization, but it needs to be a coming together, people to have a frank and open conversation.
Yes.
Because if we're not having a frank and open conversation about the things that are affecting all of us, including the potholes, because you get just increase in salary and you're spending it back by Massey, buying parts for your car.
So let's spend that wrong. Let's just spend that wrong as before. You don't take licks here. Everybody.
Not at all. This is respect.
We want to partner with you.
This is respect. We want to partner with you.
Hold on. Right? That all these issues about social injustices, wages, terms and conditions have been tried to be addressed. When Petrotrin got shut down, everybody walked from San Fernando up this road, straight up the thing. You're using laws. Then you have a lot of workers. You have plenty of people work up. What I'm saying is, then you went to the courts. Injunction was filed, this and that was filed, right? So you use the system, you use what something is. After that, what happened? Same people who were just, because already they shut down Petrotrin. The effect of that is the bad roads and things now.
Right, that's what happening right now.
You know who was left out of the Petrotrin conversation? The owners of Petrotrin. Listen, the people of Trinidad and Tobago were never included in the conversation. Labor and management and state spoke, but the people the taxpayers who ostensibly still own, I want to say it because I have to say it to Petrotrin workers already, that the owners of that company wasn't Rowley. The owners of that company is you, me, and everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, and we didn't have a say.
But when we said earlier on that they convinced, but we said but this country was convinced this country by and large was convinced that Petrotrin needed to be shut down.
Not at all.
Nah.
Not at all.
We
That
thought that
is
you
where
structure.
we
was the
We thought that you structure. And we structure.
Loud minority versus the silent majority.
When it was done, when the deal was done,
This is why.
how many persons really from, we talk about civil society, what people really rally?
Are you willing to have a
Oh, you cut out
conversation?
your foot on your
Are you
hand
willing-
and you agree.
Are you willing to have a
on that.
conversation where you do not see civil society as the enemy? Because you seem to think labor is the enemy of civil society, and it's not.
No. I never said that.
And I'm saying
I
to you,
would
I
never
say it
ever say
again, I
that.
want to say it again, that Trinidadians, the day Trinidadians start to take a vested interest and ownership in the things that we own, the day we start to see the port. Singapore is a port. Singapore is services. Singapore have oil and gas. Singapore is services. The economy just eclipsed the mighty United States of America. What's that? You can't offer services with civil society alone. It is labor.
Labor.
You need a country that is working together, civil society and labor, to get to there, Derek.
Yeah.
And Barbados understood that long time.
But okay.
I just wanted to-
The problem here, right? I'm gonna tell you the problem. This government, you had to give them a standing ovation because they dismantled
One by
one of the most powerful entities, which is labor. Good, they dismantled it. And I'll show you a case in point. We talk about unity and people understanding the strength in numbers, right? Ansel Roger is a perfect example of that. When Ansel Roger had the numbers of the people behind him, he was one of the most powerful men in the country. Now, well, he like Bugs Bunny. I'm telling you, he like a cartoon character right now. Why? Because the OWTU was dismantled. He no longer controls the numbers that he once did. And the government did a hell of a job of making a big ass out of him.
Well, no
when he
political
was
currency
running down
anymore.
the deal with Patriotic, postponing and running him around in circles.
Until
and
election
making him
call.
look like a
When
fool.
election call.
So
Come
now-
say we are the only party that will make a union own a
on a refinery, yeah. Now,
They play him
here the
easy,
problem
easy.
now.
Play
Here's the
him
problem now.
easy.
Doggy look about.
Because of
They
the
play that
position,
easy
because
to
of the
look
position, because of the position that people like Roger and they took with such loud voices and in such an aggressive manner to propel this administration into power. There is a lack of trust among society and the unions. So the unions, let me explain how I always do it. When the unions come together to march, they energize the society. Because they bring a certain level of
Unity.
awareness
Unity.
and energy to a particular issue that the country is not happy
This
with.
is a real good thing to be seen on the eve of that.
Of that match.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when
Brilliant.
Reach a good point here.
when there is a lack of trust between the two entities, you're already in shambles. You already get dismantled. You know how to regain the trust of the public, and you're not going to do it with fellas like Ansel Roger and them talking on a microphone still.
That's all tactics.
Because the people have already lost trust in him.
Yeah.
They have no trust in him. Whether he get a payment, which people alleged or not, that is the beauty of propaganda. Once enough people say it, it becomes the truth.
Will you realize?
So everybody be so Sean Rowley ready on Dr. Rowley.
You realize?
But that's the biggest shoe. That's the biggest
You
shoe.
realize-
Not labor collapse.
Everybody else say that, and everybody
You
say
realize
that.
the divide. The divide.
Everyone get
The
into
divide that we are alluding to
It's
also
irrelevant.
is now.
That's the conversation, that's the national conversation.
and civil society.
That's
the
not
divide.
while everybody
That's what
collapses.
we do.
That's
You
not
see,
true.
you need those numbers. You see, labor to regroup.
Yeah. Yes.
You all have not done that properly yet.
No.
You have not regrouped. You could imagine, here I trying to figure out for the longest while. How a man could come into power, tell you could get your back pay but lost your work, win yourself off the government. The only thing he can do is shit on you. Let me put it that way.
Tell you, you try to get
He
richer,
insult
but
you
you take-
left, right, center.
but you take keep
He
living.
bully you and still
Yeah,
get back
you
your
try to
vote
get
in
richer, it's a good thing,
2020.
it's a good thing.
I could never understand that.
Because
How
you
that
know why?
happens?
You know why?
Why?
Because they don't have a position.
You're right.
You're right.
And I want to say this.
Hold on. Wait, I will give you that.
If you can wait
Watch
till
it,
election and
watch
back
it,
on that,
Karen. You know why you can say that? 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 Watching the ex-Carney workers still working with that piece of paper when Kamala was Prime Minister for 5 years and 6 months, and she could have fixed that. She talking now about what she gonna fix if she give her back another chance. Them same ex-Carney workers, PN and UNC is two sides of the same
And I will say this.
So he was right
On
to
your
say
point, this is by far the weakest, most impotent opposition. I've vexed us saying it with some with all the changing colors of this.
Why?
Right? Because white yellow. Why? Who bring that yellow?
Cut off.
Let's say
No, let's cut off. No more Rum.
this is the most irrelevant.
Make it blue.
This is
next time.
This is irrelevant.
Make it blue.
Make it blue. Make it blue.
Of course, an MTA inside the rum shop, don't you?
Make it blue.
There should be already.
I want to hear that. This is the most, and not only the weakest, not only the most impotent, but it have a lack of trust there. They still have a lot of things that they no, I'm just saying, hold on. Let me just make this point here. They still have a lot of things that they need to bring to the fore and clear the air on. And yes, it was either or. And this is the problem. Remember, we mentioned this a few weeks ago.
Correct.
An election cannot be about the lesser of two evils.
Correct.
No, it
Yeah,
can't.
waste of time.
It
And
has
what
to be
someone
about
just
what
said
is
that
best
we
for
voted
you,
for something.
That is
what is
what
best for Paul, what is best for Stephen, what is best for Phil. We have to understand what is best for us.
What Selvon just said to Derek is nothing will change until the unions stop selling their souls politically and become political. They need to become political, and they need to understand, again, I want to quote Selvon when he said, it is the same pothole and the same grocery and the same phone bill. All of we have the same pressure at the end of the day. When the policeman go home without a uniform and a gun, the crime situation is just as frightening to him. The reality that facing all of Trinidad and Tobago right now.
But you see, but it's the same thing when they get, just like with any public servant, just like with anyone in a certain position, even in private sector, when they get to a certain rank and they have, they're now safe from certain situations, they secure in their salary, they're safe. To hell with everybody or not. To hell with everybody.
I mean, somebody has
By the way,
the illusion of safety.
and by the way,
the illusion.
the other
It's
thing I
regular.
wanted to make. The other brilliant thing that this government has done is they have given the population enough problems to juggle
Correct.
to not pay attention.
Correct.
Will you come back on this show?
And they keep doing it.
We want to bring other union leaders on the
Yes,
show with you. We're
yes,
going to
now we
broaden
could,
this
yes.
conversation.
Now we could.
We're going to bring Trinidad and Tobago into the
Those who
conversation.
good at
It
arithmetic,
is time.
And we want to bring Amal.
If they're good at
We want to bring
arithmetic,
Johnny Abud.
they ought to be good at arithmetic.
You like trouble.
Listen, what are the qualifications? What are the qualifications of any other union leader coming should be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide? We need more fractions. Not divide. Just add.
Dividing too much. Dividing too much.
Right. Okay, yeah, we want to divide. Let's add. Simple arithmetic.
Bring it down close. Bring it down close. Give Derek his closing comments.
Go ahead, man.
Derek, you close.
Labor is a serious question. Everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Who in labor knows it, right? Yes, we are fragmented. There are too many, as far as I'm concerned, too many interests that doesn't really come together at opportune times and critical times. Attempts are being made now, and we don't know how long that will last, right? Now, the thing is that it has been so for so long that it's very difficult to pull it back, especially in this time. The government, not just this government, all governments have been able to really and truly to
Undermine and
dismantle labor. And listen, and people by and a criticism I've made of labor in our circles, that when we took out any semblance of labor from within the curriculum, right? I remember as a young man, I'm from the bush, I'm from Point, right? The village called Guapo was cocoa and oil, right? Behind my father's house is a pumping jack. Opposite is a pumping jack. So I grew up with that. Right? I went Pioneer Government School, and I remember the OWTU having a essay competition on labor, and all the schools in St. Patrick given the curriculum, and then you have to go up to Faizabad and write on labor. That has been observed. My daughter going to university and do not have There's no component. You have to have an interest and decide to go Cipriani.
Same thing my generation, we never learn about
Never
that.
have
Never
to,
learn
so
about
you
that.
have to, Labour have to get to the point now.
Go ahead, say it.
Labour has to get to the point now where Labour drops itself in the curriculum.
Correct.
That's it right there.
And listen, we had a regular close. Everybody made some fantastic points tonight, except Stephan with his yellow and all that drama.
I just asked why does he
Go out to all your cut off, right?
No more water. But the truth of the matter is, and Trinidad and Tobago, again, we always come back to here. No matter how long the conversation takes, we must come back to here. Until we unite all the people in common cause, we will never get anywhere. Everybody in different ways have said it. The government has been supremely successful in separating and dividing the brethren. We need to bring everybody together. You listen now. I say this all the time. Trinidadians like we said, we, all of us, all, regardless of where you're from, race, color, creed, class, no matter, with the average basic Trinidadians, we simple people. We want a nice life, we want to take care of our family, we want to make sure we're safe, we want to go to the hospital, we want to make sure they have a doctor there to attend to it. Things like that. They've compartmentalized. We're looking at things from our own perspective, our own race, our own religion, our own labor versus. Forget all of that now. It's time for Trinidadians and Tobagonians to start to think like Trinidadians and Tobagonians. So no little company, well not a little company representing a massive country could come and evict people by the airport. I mean, what I tell you, I'm glad we didn't talk about that because I want to turn over the table after one seat today with police and Chinese workers throwing people out of their house. Trinidadians are standing in the road feeling like they are alone. None of us are alone. It's 1.4 million.
One day come by your door, you know.
One
day they go come by your door.
We're bringing all of them here.
Let's build a nation together.
Let's build a nation together. We're looking for unity. 1.4 million. So Derek, we want you, and I guess Stephan will reach out to the other leaders after tomorrow's march. Even if we do it on a show or we do it on a conversation, let's get everybody around that table.
I want to close with one thing for trade union and society as a whole. Whatever with them old karate pity and so forth, where they have the snake style and the grasshopper style.
Yeah. Kung Fu picture, but yeah.
So to be the man who come with the grasshopper style, what you had to do, not change your style.
Well, one of the things is, union
and the Chinese teach you a long time, you know. Backjack style.
Changes in the law.
One thing I love about this show, every week, something new. I say, okay, see where this man going.
Nothing wrong with that, you know.
Introduce
When you come
something.
forward, you decide to go that way. Make sure when you're talking, your voice isn't going over and your lips going in.
I know why. Because since I said Derek channeling Silver Fox, yeah? He channeling Silver Fox. All of those who ever went Palladium and Globe.
That's a union thing. When you watch Ozzy and all them fellas and them.
I think it does see the change. Let's adjust the periscope.
Close the rum shop.
Let's adjust the periscope. Alright, people. So the conversation was nice. I think everybody here.
Robust.
Yeah, it was robust. We covered a lot in terms of labor. A lot of the things that the workers going through, not just the estate police, but a lot of other things with the shutdown of Petrotrin, and just various topics that all connected. Like Phillip said, come down to one thing, the same thing all the time. We had to start thinking what best for us. This is how I just put it. Start thinking about you, right? Because you see the cost of living. Now your cost of living that affecting you, that not affecting the rest of them, you know. They go on about the business.
Living tax free.
Right. And if something don't make sense to you, and you're saying, but how these people incompetent, so stop thinking like you. That is the problem. Start thinking like them, and then you'll figure out why they make any moves that they're making.
Playing chess, we playing checkers. We gotta change that.
And remember, so we ready to close, right? And remember,
In the RUM
just on a little relationship note, considering all you want to talk this week, anytime your woman asks you to make love, do not respond by saying you're a geologist. Do not say I'm a geologist.
go drink to that. We in the rum shop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We in the rum shop. Yeah.